All right. What's cracking, everybody? We back again for another edition of You Know What It Is, Heart of the City, where we cover all New York City area sports. It's a lot going on in the city today. Tonight, we got um the baseball teams in action. We got the Nets in action, the Knicks, both and the Nets fighting for playoff positioning. The Devils and the Rangers could be potentially facing off in the first round of the playoffs. We also going to be talking about the NFL draft as well as the drama surrounding the women's college championship. But all that is on deck. And that being said, I want to welcome and talk to my co-hosts and see how they doing tonight, man. How y'all doing, man? How you doing, Jeffy? How you doing, Coach, man? What's good with y'all tonight, man?
Oh, I'm good. Just, grinding as always. How about you guys?
Same thing, just grinding always. Hope everybody's had a great Tuesday and you're ready for another edition of Heart of the City.
Yeah, man. You already know what it is. Appreciate y'all, man. Coming through tonight. We always get it cracking. So, like I said, lots of things to talk about. But first thing I want to talk about is, or we want to talk about is the NBA, the association, as they call it. So right now, the Brooklyn Nets, 43-35. They are up on the Timberwolves 54-51. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they could potentially clinch a playoff berth this game here if I think the Heat lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the Heat lose and the Nets win, I think they clinch the sixth
They
seed.
clinch. Exactly. All right. Appreciate that, Jeff.
No
So
problem.
so we're definitely looking to that, man, to see if the Nets can come through and clinch now. For all the Brooklyn Nets have went through. I'm cut my camera for me. What's good, y'all? For all the Brooklyn Nets have went through, they still are able to possibly avoid the play-in game. Meanwhile, over there in Dallas, Kyrie Irving and company are struggling. So kudos to Jock Vaughn. This team, in my opinion, is not a great team. They don't have the best of talent, but what they do have is heart, grit, and determination. And they have, and I said this, a potential superstar in Mikal Bridges. This dude has elevated his game tremendously since coming to the Brooklyn Nets. He's dropping 30 in his sleep. He's taking over games at times. He works well with Nicholas Claxton. He's basically been putting the team on his back for the most part, man, leading his team to victories now. I think tonight he's struggling a little bit, man, but players have off games, man. But I cannot say enough about Mikal Bridges, as well as Claxton. Dinwiddie has stepped up his game as well, especially as a facilitator of the basketball, because I don't need Dinwiddie to go out there and score 20, 25 a game. He needs to run the offense. So kudos to the Nets. And it's still a slim chance that, if the Knicks falter, the Nets can actually end up in the 5th seed. I don't think that's likely. I think the way it stands now, if I'm looking at the standings, it's going to be Bucks, Celtics, Sixers, Cavs, Knicks, Nets. And then in the playing game, you got Heat, Hawks, Raptors, Bulls. So, like I said, for the Nets to have gone through what they went through and to end up here with the 6th seed, avoiding the play-in game which a lot of people thought this team was just going to fall off the rails. Kudos to Jacques Vaughn. Kudos to the Brooklyn Nets. Now as for the Knicks are currently sitting in fifth. I do expect this Knicks team to stay in that position. Like I said, there's a slight chance they slip to 6. I wish the dang on Cavs wasn't where they at because I really want to see Knicks Nets first round. That would be great, but it ain't gonna happen. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? They still both gonna be in the playoffs. So, but I kind of want to set this conversation off with the Knicks because the thing is, they're going into the playoffs right now with an injured Julius Randle. And I see you next shift, man. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you pulling in, popping up to the show. Now, next shift, if you want to come on the show a little bit later and kind of talk some hockey, I will send you the link.
He could talk about the Raptors too, because he's a huge Raptors fan, and they're surging in the East too. I think they're close to the 8th seed.
Yeah, they're in 9th now. They're tied for 9th. But I really want to get his insight on the hockey playoffs, the NHL playoffs. Because I'm not as versed with that sport as my man might be. Mets, what's good, man? What's popping, man? Appreciate you coming through, man.
Mets?
Happy Tuesday, man. Happy Heart of the City night, man. We're gonna get it in tonight, man. Like I said, it's a lot to talk about because it's almost something going on in every sport right now. So, but with the Knicks, Julius Randle being out, how would that affect them in the first round of the playoffs going against the Cleveland Cavs? Now they beat the Cavs. What was it? 2 nights ago. So they've been back and forth with the Cavs now. The Donovan Mitchell thing. So there's a little bit of drama there, but Julius Randle being out, some people think the Knicks have been playing better. The ball doesn't, because Julius Randle is a ball dominant forward. He's one of those guys where, he gets the ball, pause, it just stops. Now, we don't know when he's coming back. At least I don't. Maybe coach can tell me. But the Knicks going into the first round of the playoffs without Julius Randle, what are the chances of them winning that matchup? What are the chances of them actually being able to compete with the Cleveland Cavaliers with no Julius Randle? Because he is a basically, co-superstar on that team with Jalen Brunson, in my opinion. It's him and Brunson. They got good role players, Quickly, Grimes, yada, 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 but it's really them two as far as scoring and holding the team down in the clutch. So, personally, I think that's going to be a problem for the Knicks. Knicks fans seem to think that they don't need Julius Randle. So, I'm going to kick it to my man, Coach. DC in the chat, peace and love, man, to the panel in the chat, man. Thank you very much for pulling in, support the show.
Sorry. Coach knows why I'm laughing. I know why. He knows why I'm laughing.
Oh, the thing you put in the okay. I see.
Yeah. That's why I'm laughing.
Now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Coach, man, what's good, man? What's good with the Knicks, man? How you feeling about their chances, man, going into this potential first round matchup with the Cavaliers?
Okay. It's a catch-22. In one regard, the way they played against Cleveland, the way the ball was moving, that's the one thing. It was definitely moving. I mean, Donovan Mitchell even said it. They played differently without Julius Randle. And it makes it difficult to key in on anyone specifically. Because when Julius has the ball, goes into the low post, everyone waits till he starts to dribble, then you blitz him and you double team. He gets you can steal the ball, bad turnovers. He makes the wrong read, things of that nature. So it's different, and you can defend them differently. But when He's not in there. He's not clogging up the lane. Brunson now is able to attack the paint. Even Obi is cutting and getting those alley oops. He's aggressive. Also, when they get the rebound, he's leaking out, and they're running a lot more than when Julius is in there. So they're a different team.
Mhm.
Now, I've seen some conversations and I thought about it. Without Julius, that does not mean they're better. I mean, he's their leading scorer. I mean, you have to respect that. I mean, he is
Exactly.
he is the team's leading scorer. So, and they have won with him to this point. So, as much as he frustrates me, I have to respect the fact that what he's a key component to the team, and his scoring alone could be missed. I mean, he's consistently getting you 20 and 10 almost every night.
Hmm.
Where you don't have his 20 points. I mean, the other day you had quite a few. You had 3, 4 guys who scored 20 points. Okay, that was great. That was great. But is that going to be a consistent thing with the Knicks? I don't know. I don't know if they can score 20 points. Brunson, yes. Quickly, probably, but he's probably better in the 15 to 18 point range. Obi, that game, okay, and he got the 20. What did he get? 21 points. Grimes, to me, is the enigma because he has been scoring consistently 20 points the past 4 games. So
Hmm.
so I mean, he can get you buckets. I think what hurts him is because Julius is in there, and Grimes knows his role when Julius is in there. He's to play defense and hit the threes. That's pretty much it. But
Hmm.
Grimes can attack the rim. He can handle the rock. He can do a lot more than what they're asking him to do. So, are they better off without him? I'm going to say no, not for a playoff run. They're not. Now, when is he due back? They announced that on the 30th that he was going to be out for 2 weeks, and that April 13th is when he's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks, which is April 13th, and the first day of the playoffs is the 15th. So that's pretty much what we're looking at right now. It's up in the air. Now, if they miss the if he misses the first game and comes back the second game, if they end up with a split, then they're right where they need to be, whether they had him or not. You want to get a split, being that you're the visiting team. So
Hmm.
that's the biggest thing. Now, I will say, knowing that they went into Cleveland and beat them late in the season, that's a confidence booster. That definitely is a confidence booster. So can that trickle into and the other factor was RJ wasn't there either. So
Mm.
that can elevate the confidence in the team. So that's what they need. And guys say, okay, well, Julius comes back, he just fits in, and we fit around him. We're playing hot, we're playing well. Then it makes them that much more dangerous. But overall, to ask, are they better without Julius? I'm gonna have to say no, they're not. And that's anyone who knows me. I've always been crying about Julius, and I wanted Obi, but
Hmm.
Obi's role is defined, and that's not really what Obi really should be. But um, it is what it is. Um, I mean, the guys are. I just will say that these guys, I think, are true brothers. I mean,
Hmm.
that's every last one of them. They're true brothers. Look, even Obi and RJ got into a little tiff on the bench, but they brushed it off. That happens. But they love playing for each other. They love playing with each other. They're there. They're supportive. So to me, they need Julius, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Now, Coach, how you feel about the matchup though with the Cavs? You know what I'm saying? Particularly the matchup of Brunson versus Mitchell. Because remember now, Knicks fans wanted Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
They got Brunson instead, and he has been he's been a godsend in a sense for that basketball team. So how you feel about this potential matchup with the Cavs, and do you think the Knicks can beat the Cavs in a 7-game series?
Of course, they can beat them in a 7-game series. They can compete with them in a 7-game series.
Okay.
They can lose to them in a 7-game series. So, it's a
What
good
you think
matchup.
the key to the kind of the matchup or whatever?
It's number one is going to be containing Mitchell, not trying to stop him. You can't, but Garland is going to be more the key to me than anything.
Okay.
You gotta really limit his um, looks at the basket, him attacking the basket. That's where you have to really key in on them. Not let Garland consistently get down the lane and kick out, and then also Mobley. That's the other big factor. I mean, if now we do have the low post depth to compete with them. I mean, I think they go 2 deep, we go 3 deep because I include Jericho Sims in there, and he now he may not be the scorer, but he gives you defense, he gives you athleticism, and he can give you good scoring at the basket with the lobs. But for the big key is look, Mitchell is going to get his buckets. Come on, let's be real. You're not going to stop him. You can only hope to contain him.
Mhm.
So it's a matter of Garland and the other players, not letting them catch fire, and then you're losing. You're in a position where you don't know who to key in because the ball is moving around, and they got guys who are scoring. Let Mitchell, in a sense, if he wants to get 40 points, let him get 40 points. But if you shut everyone else down or contain everyone else, and you do what you're supposed to do, it should be a good opportunity. Conversely, if I'm Cleveland, it's the same thing. I want Brunson to go off. We were just talking about Julius. Julius is coming back, so he's going to be out for some time. So he's going to have to play himself into shape, especially coming
Mhm.
off an injury. So then the key is for the Knicks, I mean for Cleveland to contain quickly, contain Grimes, and
Mhm.
contain Hart, because Hart is that spark. He's that spark off that bench.
Yeah.
And he can get it for you. Now, RJ RJ is inconsistent for me. If I could really count on him, then I would say him. But one game he can get you 25, he can get you 30 points, but the next game he's getting you 5 points.
Mhm.
It's frustrating with him. Where if I could just get a consistent 18 to 20 points a game from him consistently across the board, I'm good. But this up and down. Otherwise, that's where I think the Knicks, because I think they have better rotational players, bench players who know their role, they're comfortable with their role, and they're playing it. I mean, Hartenstein, for everything in the beginning of the season, he's found his role. He's playing good defense. He does give you that good push hook right in the middle of the lane. I mean, his 3 point is not consistent. I mean, that's what I heard beginning of the season, but he's not asked to do that. He's a phenomenal passer. So, and guys
Mhm.
know when you're in there cut, he's going to find you. So, if I'm looking at that team, the way they've been playing, I mean, it gives me hope right now that they're going to be able to compete with a lot of teams in the East come playoff time. Can they lose to Cleveland? Yes. Can they beat Cleveland? Yes. So that's how I see it.
I think they can beat Cleveland. And the reason is because of what you just mentioned on Mitchell Robinson. Um, and what Mitch does as a rim protector, um, I think he kind of changes. I don't think I know he changes
Hmm. Hmm.
the way um, offensive teams approach the Knicks. You got to think about that guy in the middle of the defense. Now, the thing about the Knicks is when you're going into the playoffs right now, and you don't have Julius Randle, we'll see if he plays or if he doesn't play. The problem is going to be is you put a lot of pressure on Jalen Brunson and somebody else to step up. Now, Quickly's doing his thing. You got Grimes, Josh Hart, so on and so forth. But without Julius Randle, who would I be looking at outside of Obi Toppin? It's your man RJ Barrett. Now, if RJ Barrett can play halfway decent, even without Randle, I think the Knicks can get by with the Cavs. Now, if Randle is in the lineup, I think they absolutely beat the Cavs. I think it'll be a 7-game series. But without Randle, I don't know. I think now the Knicks have beaten the Cavs 3 out of 4 this season, so it's not like they have really struggled against. They kind of own this squad, but there is a different dynamic when you're talking about Julius Randle, man, and his scoring ability. You know what I'm saying? It changes the way that you have to defend this team. You know what I mean? Because without Randle, I mean, who's your low post presence? Down there. I mean, you really relying on Obi Toppin? I don't think he's ready right now for no big time playoff series against a Cleveland Cavaliers team. That's just as hungry as the Knicks. So now let's switch it over to the Nets real quick. We're going to talk about the Nets briefly. Right now, it is 68-64. Now, Jeffy, with this Nets team possibly going up against the Sixers in the first round of the playoffs, what do you think the Nets, or do you think there is any chance? Because from what I've heard from a lot of boisterous Sixer fans and even just a bunch of Knicks fans that don't like the Nets, is that the Nets are going to get mollywopped in the first round of the playoffs against Philadelphia, and Joel Embiid and James Harden. How you feel about that, Jeff? Do you feel like this team has any chance in hell to beat the Sixers, or do you think it's pretty much going to be one and done with this Brooklyn team?
No, we got no chance in hell. Why even bother to play the games at all? Just call it a forfeit, wave the white flag, it's over. Of course we got a chance. I mean, those are just fans being cocky because the fact that the Nets were a super team before, and then they ended up losing all their guys because of the fact that we know the drama that happened with the organization. There's no Kevin Durant out there. There's no more Kyrie Irving. This is just a bunch of really good players, young, good players, but not to the level of what the Sixers have. They don't have an Embiid. They don't have a Harden. They don't have a young emerging player like Maxey. Here's the facts right here. What the Nets have is a gritty, young team that is starting to come together. And they have a lot of young, hungry players that are starting to get their opportunities that maybe they didn't have before in their previous spots. And they're going out there and showing teams that this team could go out there and maybe cause you a little bit of problems, especially if their defense is on point and they got their three-point shooting on point. Because this Nets team is a pretty solid three-point shooting team when they're on. Mm-hmm. And like you mentioned before, this team has got a budding, young, two-way superstar on their team in Mikal Bridges. This kid is budding himself into a superstar. He's averaging over 20 points per game now. He was named the Eastern Conference Player of the Week. The team went 3-0. He scored 33 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He's been unbelievable carrying this team, but it's not just been him. Dinwiddie has averaged the 3rd most assists in the NBA since the trade deadline. He's been doing a great job facilitating the ball. You have Cam Johnson, who I believe is the key to this team. I think if Cam Johnson is on, the Nets are going to be a harder team to beat. He's shown the ability to go out there and light it up for 30-something points. He just did it the other night against the Rockets. Yes, the Rockets, but it's still, you got to go out there and play the game. Dorian Finney-Smith, who has been NYG 22's favorite player, he's been maddening up and down all over the place, but he's had games where he's actually really helped this team out. In fact, tonight he's actually having a pretty solid game. He's almost got a double-double tonight. Claxton, last time the Nets played the Sixers, Claxton outplayed Embiid. Claxton is that frustrating defensive center now that's even starting to get a little bit of an offensive game. And like you said, he's getting a synergy now with Dinwiddie, with Bridges, with Johnson. He's a guy that's hovering around the rim all the time. Teams are not always so reluctant to go drive to the basket because they know big number 33 is going to be there to shot block those balls away. Pause.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that the Nets could give the Sixers problems. Am I guaranteeing that they're going to go out there and beat the Sixers? No, not necessarily. But let's just be real. Who on the Sixers has really gone out there and proven that they are going to be a big game performer in the playoffs besides Embiid? And even Sixers fans are questioning Embiid and his playoff, stature on how the Sixers have performed lately. Remember the Sixers? What were they, the second or third seed last year, and they got bounced in the first round? So I mean, it's not all grand over there in Philadelphia either.
Sure,
and I mean, we know about James Harden. We have the dude on our team. He comes up small when you get into the playoffs, and just like with guys like Cam Johnson on our team, Tyrese Maxey is the same player over there. Is he going to be able to emerge finally as a good young player? And now we're trailing, by the way, by 1 point to the Timberwolves.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the way that this team is starting to show grit. And this was the opportunity this team needed to go out there and beat these lesser-known teams. They struggled badly against the Rockets, but thankfully they got it going towards the end of the game to pull off that win. They handled the Atlanta Hawks, and then the Utah game, as a Nets fan, almost gave me a heart attack because the fact they were up by 20-plus points.
What was that about? Right.
And they were a Kelly Olynyk, like 2 inches away from a layup of losing a 23-point lead and losing that game. But they still got the W nonetheless. But sure, I do believe the Nets have an opportunity to go out there and shock the Sixers because at the same time, what have the Sixers really done in the playoffs? And to really say, oh, well, they're just going to go over and stomp on the Nets because we have Joel Embiid, we have James Harden, we have PJ Tucker, we have Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris. Who you talk to Sixers fans, he frustrates the hell out of everybody. He's their Dorian Finney-Smith. So there's no guarantees that Philadelphia is just going to steamroll the Nets. We have the ability, especially if we're on our game with our 3-point shooting, we can beat them. Why the hell
they
can't
lost
we
by
beat them?
3 the last time they played, Jeffy. They lost by 3 points. Now, in that game, I think this is the only game that they played with this new squad with Bridges and Cam Johnson and them. They only lost by 3 points. So the Sixers haven't really seen this type of Nets team, but once, and at one time they barely, and this team, I think that was like close to right after the trade, and they hadn't had time to gel. Now
that was when Bridges and Johnson, I think, didn't play. That's when Durant was just traded, and Bridges and Johnson didn't play. So they pretty much played that game, and they only lost by a little bit.
They played that game, but they lost. They lost by 3 points. Now in that game, I'm looking at the stats here now. The Sixers shot 44%. They only shot 26% from 3-point line. And the Nets actually out-rebounded the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, that's odd for a Nets team that usually struggles with rebounds. Now, the main thing that happened in this game is the Sixers went to the line 30 times. That's where kind of the difference was Philadelphia was able to shoot a lot of foul shots.
Yeah,
Nets.
Harden and Embiid.
Yeah, you know how James Harden is, man, with the goofy fakes and stuff. Trying to
Even Embiid too. He flops all the time as well.
So that's where they go and try to make their money at with these fouls. And then this Nets team is so young. A lot of times they lose discipline. You know, when it comes to you know, not fouling, keeping their defense, keeping right and not getting out of it. Because, you know, usually when you're frustrated, you foul a lot. You know,
exactly.
You're getting cooked and burnt. You know what I'm saying? You start to foul. So I definitely want to see this Nets team clean that up, especially your big guys, Nick Claxton, and Day'Ron Sharpe and those guys, man. So, but look, man, this Nets team definitely has the ability to beat Philadelphia. I'm not gonna lie to you, because one of the main reasons I say that is because what scares you on the Sixers team besides Joel Embiid? Yeah, they got James Harden. But if I'm the Nets, what you think? You putting Mikal Bridges on James Harden?
Yes, I'm putting Bridges.
Are you going to put Cam Johnson on?
No, I'm putting Bridges. I'm putting our best defensive player on one of their best offensive players, and that's Bridges. Bridges is probably our best defensive player on the team, other than Claxton. So I'm putting him on Harden. You can put Cam Johnson on Maxey, so that way you take those two guys, and then you could have Dorian Finney-Smith go against Tobias Harris. You got Dinwiddie that can handle against, I believe it's D'Anthony Melton, and then I mean. Claxton and Embiid, that was not that big of a disadvantage. Claxton held his own. Like I mentioned, he outplayed Embiid the last time they played against each other. I mean, Claxton's going to be a little bit of a problem for that Sixers team. But I mentioned it before. To me, if the Nets really want to have a shot to beat the Sixers, it's going to come down to two players on this team, Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith. Those two guys, at least when I've watched these games, Bridges is always going to get his. It's like becoming a norm that Bridges is going to get his. Claxton is going to play pretty well most games, and Dinwiddie is going to facilitate the ball. But what I notice is this Nets team gets more difficult when Cam Johnson is shooting the ball well and when Dorian Finney-Smith is shooting the ball well. That's when this Nets team becomes more difficult to beat. When those two guys were off, how many times we were both talking about when those two guys were not shooting well, the Nets were struggling to beat teams.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened the last few games, especially with Cam Johnson? He started to shoot the ball well. He started to put the ball into the bucket more. It's not ironic the Nets have started to win games now because Johnson is starting to play to the level that we were hoping we're going to get for him, because he's a good player too. And he's a good defensive player. And that guy, he's a good three-point shooter that can light it up from the outside. So that's the difference right there. And also, you can have factor in the bench. That's my concern right now when it comes to Nets the most is the bench. Who on that bench is going to consistently step up? I love Royce O'Neal. People are very critical about Royce O'Neal. I like Royce O'Neal. I think he fits very well for this team. I think he's had to do more than he was originally asked to do because of all the drama that happened with KD, Kyrie, and etc. But I think he's been a good player on this team. So I'm not worried about Royce O'Neal. But Joe Harris, Seth Curry, if Cam Thomas ever gets unshackled from the bench, Day'Ron Sharpe too, Yuta Watanabe, Edmund Sumner, the collection of those guys that have to eventually come in, those guys have got to give us more than what they've been giving us lately. And Harris has shot the ball about 42% from the three-point line since the second half of the season began. Curry's had spurts. Sumner has had moments. Need consistency from those guys off the bench, because I look at that Sixers bench, and I honestly think if our Nets players can actually hit the ball in the basket, I think we have a better bench than them. I do. But it's all good.
The Sixers ain't got a whole lot going on over there. They really don't. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, yo, these Sixer fans that's pumping their chests out, man. Look, first of all, Y'all ain't going nowhere anyway. I'm sorry. I'm gonna talk shit for a minute. You ain't going nowhere. Even if you beat the Brooklyn Nets, who are a young team just starting to try to find their way. The Sixers are a veteran team that's been together for a couple years now. They should be expected to win this matchup. But to me, something tells me that the Brooklyn Nets are going to give these guys trouble, especially defensively. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yes.
when the Nets can play like they should be playing, they have the size and the length to deal and give the Philadelphia Sixers fits. They barely scored 100 last time we played them. I told you they shot 26% from 3-point line, only 44% from the field. So it ain't like they was lighting it up. You know what I'm saying? They had like only, I think Harden and Embiid was the only ones in double figures that game.
I think Maxey had a good game too.
Absolutely not. Well, he had 12 points. I mean, that's it though. Other than that, it was Embiid and James Harden. Everybody else did not play well at all. We just didn't get a lot of effort from some of our guys like Claxton, Dinwiddie, and Cam Johnson.
Well, I will say
Cam
that
Johnson
though. I will say
yeah.
that you have to think about it too. When we played the Sixers that time, we were just getting our new players on the team.
That's what I'm saying, right?
This is a team that hasn't gelled yet. Now you're starting to see this team that has like had at least a few weeks to gel together, and you're starting to see this team build some chemistry. And hence, Dinwiddie is the facilitator. He stepped his game up. In fact, he's leading the team in scoring right now tonight, which I don't mind because Dinwiddie can do it. Claxton has been emerging, like we've talked about it before. Claxton has been the breakout player of this team all season. Bridges is becoming a superstar. I'm not even afraid to say it. Bridges is becoming a superstar in this league. Two-way player. Johnson knows his role. I don't mind Finney-Smith. I know you're hard on Finney-Smith, but I think this guy, if he is on his game,
I think Royce knows better.
Well, either or. I mean, they flip-flop. One plays good, the other one doesn't. It's like a flip-flop with the both of them. If they both play well, we're in good shape. But, I mean, the Nets now have chemistry now where they've played together as a team. So the Sixers are going to be getting a different Nets team than they got before. And when they played the Nets before, this was not the same Mikal Bridges. And Bridges was just starting to emerge. When he was just starting to emerge.
And he still dropped 20-something on him. Yeah, he had 23 last time they played, so.
Bridges is good. I mean, Bridges is he's efficient too, and I mean he's just starting to emerge as that big time player. So I get why Sixers fans would feel that because they look at the Nets and be like, well, who do they have? Who's on that team that scares them? I mean, they're gonna be like Mikal Bridges. The dude was like the 4th player on that Suns team. Cam Johnson, 5th player. Dinwiddie, nice point guard. Dorian Finney-Smith, solid power forward. Nicholas Claxton, he's not bad. They look at our team and they don't see like a superstar compared to when we had Durant, Irving, Harden, the superstar players on our team.
Yeah, Jeffy, but when we had them, that's where we was having problems with the Sixers.
No, I know, because we weren't as good defensively.
Right. I think this team is going to give them some problems, to be honest with you. I'm telling you, I got a strange inkling that I'm not saying they're going to beat the Sixers. I mean, because that's a tall task to ask of a team that's structured that as the Brooklyn Nets are structured right now, that really only has 2 real threats out there, on the offensive end, which is Bridges and Claxton. You know what I'm saying? Dinwiddie, Cam Johnson, they hot and cold. If they're on for a whole series, I would be shocked. But yeah, the Nets are absolutely going to win because that's going to be hard.
The one thing I like about Dinwiddie. The one thing I like about Dinwiddie, though, is Dinwiddie is like a Harden. He will drive to the basket and draw fouls. There's not a lot of players in the Nets. There's one thing that Dinwiddie does that not a lot of these Nets players will do is he's not afraid to drive to the basket, create contact, and draw fouls. That's what
him and Cam Thomas. Those are the only ones that I see, and Bridges are the only ones on this team that I really see attacking the basket like that. All these other guys just sit out there and square up and shoot threes, and they either are hot or cold. That's the problem with the Nets. They don't have enough shot creators. You know, you got Cam Johnson, like you said, Dinwiddie, and Mikal Bridges. That's it.
Yeah.
So, you know,
No, I
Claxton,
agree with you
he
100%.
plays. Yeah, he kind of plays off those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Just
Claxton's
being
not relied on to be a scorer right now.
he's not
Claxton,
an offensive player, exactly.
He can score. I mean, he's shown ability to score 15, 20 points, but he's more
trying
there
to
for your
clean up.
defense,
Yeah,
rebounding, and like, you know, occasional putbacks and stuff. He's
yeah,
not
getting
asked to
clean
go
up
out there and
points.
score.
Right.
He doesn't need to.
He's not sitting there, you know, they're not running the offense through him. He's not posting up and getting, you know, he's not in B. You know what I'm saying? He's out there to be a defensive force right now for the Nets. You know,
Great point. That's exactly what he is. Claxton is not having the offense run through him. The Nets right now are running that offense through Mikal Bridges. That is the guy that the offense goes through, and then it goes to everybody else, and Claxton is doing his job. He's like a Jaren Jackson Jr. or a defensive center that goes out there, shot blocks, gets putbacks, rebounds, puts the ball into the bucket. That's what he does. That's what he does, and that's a perfect role for him because I just don't think his offensive game is going to develop a little more. He's only 23 years old. People forget Claxton's only 23. He's going to get better. He's going to get better as he gets older. So, I mean, we haven't even seen the ceiling with Nicholas Claxton yet, and he's already playing this well. So, but, yeah, I've never understood why fans are thinking that the Sixers are just going to steamroll the Nets. They might. Who knows? Maybe the Nets just don't have a good series. They just come in, they shoot cold, and the Sixers just overpower them. But to say that it's going to be just a split 3-4-0 series, I doubt it. I wouldn't be shocked if it's like the series goes 6 or 7.
I told them last night it was going 7. Your boy Kowski, they was laughing at me, you know what I'm saying? But it's all good, man, because I'm gonna tell you right now, all the pressure on Philly. So.
Oh yeah. We have no pressure.
Exactly.
We have zero pressure because nobody expects anything on us. Nobody expects us to do anything because of what happened to us during the season. And I'm going to give a shout out to Jacques Vaughn. He's made some decisions that has really been like head scratching, but look what this dude has had to deal with all season. I mean, seriously, he had to deal with taking over as the head coach, dealing with the Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving situation, having to talk about that stuff. Then getting new players brought in after Durant and Irving were traded, implementing them into the offense, getting the playbooks ready, getting this team together, and they're still able to find a way to at least avoid the play-in game. It could have been better. They dropped, obviously, from around the number 1 seed like they did last year, but at least they didn't fall all the way down to like where they were last year with Durant and Irving. They did better with everything, the turmoil they had to deal with. They still did better than they did last year. That's a kudos to Jacques Vaughn and his coaching. I think everything's not rosy, but still, you got to give credit to what he's had to deal with this basketball team, with all the drama this past season.
And you know what's funny?
Kudos to Jacques.
I'm just looking at the joint right now. The Suns are 43-35, the exact same record as the Brooklyn Nets. Exactly. 43-35 with Kevin Durant. Now they are on a 5-game win streak. We'll see how it plays out. But the Mavericks are in 11th place, 37-42 in the Western Conference. So again, we don't have no pressure. We're the ones that was told that, you know, your team is garbage. Y'all suck. Y'all this, that, and the third. You look stupid. You got Kevin Durant. They all forced their way out of there. Who in better shape right now? Because
if you're a Mavericks fan, I don't know who the hell you're talking about right now.
We in the 6th seed right now, but we have the exact same record as the Suns.
Yep.
Who got Kevin Durant?
Suns are still in the better position.
Tell me how. Elaborate.
Look where they're at, and they haven't had Durant on the court for that whole time. This is what his 6th game that they're going to be playing with him.
Okay.
So if he gets going, I'm not saying he He's there. If he gets going, they have a better ceiling because of where they can go to.
This season.
Yes. I'm talking about,
Okay.
are we talking about right now or are you talking about for the future?
I'm just talking about the situation this season. Yeah.
Okay, so if it's this season, they have they have the opportunity. If he gets going, it's going to be hard for a lot of those teams out west to really match up with Phoenix unless
West is
the
loaded, man.
bench.
I think the
Yeah,
East is
but
stronger up top.
the
I think the
East is
West is
stronger,
more
but
balanced.
the thing is,
Exactly.
in terms of a superstar who can take over the game, I mean, the Warriors have KD. I mean, Denver has Jokic. The Lakers, I don't know about the Lakers right now. Who else? Who am I missing? That can
Memphis.
take over.
Memphis has Ja.
Yeah, John Morant. Okay, you're right. John Morant. I forgot about
Sacramento's
him.
got Fox and Sabonis.
But
No, they're good. They're
they're
superstars. They're
good.
up there.
Can't never count out Golden State. The
I
Lakers
didn't
are
take
right
it.
there.
That's the
Clippers.
first one. The Clippers are
Clippers,
too
yeah.
inconsistent though.
Yeah, but they're
They
up there. They're still what, they fourth seed in the West?
no, they're fifth. Yeah.
And they got Kawhi. Kawhi knows what it's like in this and when he gets in the playoffs. When he's healthy, Kawhi knows how to get it done. And if Paul George
Yeah,
can
but
finally stay healthy and Eric Gordon, they have a good veteran team.
who has a bigger ceiling? I still think it's the Suns when it out west when it comes to the playoffs.
I still say
Because
it's the Warriors for me.
I mean, you think about it. You have Durant, you have Chris Paul, who's a facilitator, Aiden, and what's his name? I forget his name.
Devin Booker. Devin Booker.
Yeah, they have scoring. Now I don't know about their defense. I'm not going to talk about their defense, but if they get going, man. And Durant can get you an easy 30 to 40 come playoff time. And if he's going, that opens it up for Aiden alone. Who out west other than maybe Jokic, maybe can defend him down low?
Jaren Jackson Jr.
He's athletic, but I don't think he can.
He's a defensive player of the year right now. I think he could.
1-on-1.
Ayton is soft. Ayton showed it last year. When you bang against him, he can be soft.
Okay, I mean, what I'm getting at is if KD is hitting from the outside or he's creating, that opens it up for Ayton. That's what I mean. That's how I mean.
Well, they're going to light it up from the scoreboard. They're going to light it up scoring wise, but their defense is going to give up a hell of a lot of points.
I'll give you that, the defense, but the thing about it is KD can take over the game, and he knows it. And that's the whole thing. He was with y'all. Y'all know this. As Nets fans, y'all know this. You know that he could take over a game. Y'all were just more of he needs to be on the court more. That's the only issue with KD.
That's right, Finney Smith.
That's the only thing with KD.
No, I know.
You know that, and if he wants to, I honestly believe he can put 60 on any team in this league if he wants to. He's just not that type of a ball player.
Yeah,
Coach.
I think
going into the Western Conference playoffs, would you take this? You think the Suns are going to come out of the West?
Sounds like that's what he's saying.
No, yeah, that's kind of what I am saying.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I'm picking. Until the war round, I'm not going against that basketball team.
That's the only. To see the Warriors.
Playoffs come.
The only reason why I can't with them this year is because of their road play. They're going to have to be on the road. They're what 9-30 something or something to that effect. They have 9 road wins.
It's the regular season, Coach. Things could change when you get into the playoffs.
Yes,
it might be a regular season thing,
bro,
but they could also turn it on when they get in the playoffs.
You right about that, but I've never seen anything like. I've never NYT. You tell me, have you ever seen a big disparity between home and away like this? That's my concern. They're not playing well on the road. And that's the thing. Now, yes, they are the champions, so you have to give them that respect, and they can turn it on. But Now you're saying you have to go on the road and have to at least win one game.
I don't think it matters with a team like Golden State, though, to be honest with you, man, because playoff, we all know playoff basketball is different than regular season
Yes.
basketball.
Yes.
And
Yes.
when a team like the Warriors, you know what I'm saying? The Lakers used to do this in the Shaq and Kobe era. You know, they kind of take the regular season off to a degree, but when they get into the playoffs, they turn it up. And a team with that mentality, especially when you got guys like Steph, Clay, you know what I'm saying? Draymond, that been in championship, been in heated playoff battles. You know what I'm saying? You can never sit there and base what they do in the regular season as a preview to what's going to happen in the playoffs. So I agree with Jeffy in that aspect. As far as them winning it all, I don't know. I don't know. The West is kind of like you said, topsy turvy, whatever. The team to me that is starting to sneak up on people, to be honest, is the Lakers. The Lakers right now are in seventh, but they're only a half a game from the Clippers for fifth. You know, so to me,
don't they play each other end last game?
I think so, something like that.
That'd be an awesome series to start the playoffs. The Clippers and the Lakers. That would be a great series.
So that's something you gotta look at too. The Lakers, an experienced team. Golden State, like I said, an experienced team. You're looking at a Phoenix team. While they have experience, they don't have experience together because Kevin Durant, as you just said, just came back off an injury. You know, so I don't trust them. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't trust the Phoenix Suns.
I don't trust the Lakers. As good as they are and the surgeon they've done, I don't trust the Lakers to stay healthy going to the playoffs.
Yeah, Anthony Davis is a paper clip away from being on IR for the rest of the season. That's just how he is. So I wouldn't trust the Lakers either. But I'm saying if that team is healthy, man, I mean, look, I ain't no LeBron fan, but I mean, gotta give credit where credit is due. If they can put it together, man, you know, him and AD, and then D'Lo, they got now, who has kind of helped resurge this squad, man. You know, after they got rid of the headache that was Russell Westbrook. But look, anybody can come out the West. To be honest with you, I don't think it's going to be Phoenix because I don't think that's the type of team that's going to be able to get it done in the playoff. Chris Paul, Booker, Kevin Durant. You know, outside of his years in Golden State, we can talk about that. This has not shown that they can get it done, especially Chris Paul. You know, so me, I'm lukewarm on that squad as far as them winning the championship games. Can they win a first round playoff game? Absolutely. I'm not gonna hold you. I mean, this is basketball.
And with Golden State too. People are starting to forget they played pretty much a lot of this season without Andrew Wiggins, and people are forgetting how important a player Andrew Wiggins was for them last year during that championship run. Wiggins was a major factor when he got traded over to Golden State. He emerged as one of their best young players on that team, and he's been out for a while. I believe he's dealing with personal reasons. Is the reason why he's been out for the past few. I think it's been like a couple of months. But you get him back. You're adding a 20-point scorer to your lineup, and that's only going to make that Golden State team more dynamic. You know what we already know what Thompson, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry can do. Kevon Looney is one of the most underrated players at center. I mean, Kuminga as a player. You got Poole. I mean, they got DiVincenzo now. They added to the lineup. He's a spot 3-point shooter. Just say, I mean, I get it. The Warriors have struggled on the road, but it's the regular season. And a lot of things, you could be bad in the regular season on the road, but it just once you get into that playoffs, you can just turn on that switch, and you could be a bad team in the
That's the
regular
thing.
season on the road, but you can
That's
become a
the
great
thing
team
to
going into
say
the
to
playoffs
turn
on the
on
road.
this.
And it's just that championship mentality.
There is no switch to turn on. This is the time that you should be playing to prep yourself to get ready for, just like you're saying about the Lakers. And why you said it, the Lakers are sneaky. They're the ones. This is when
Mets
you're
said it
prepping.
too. They've done a lot of this without LeBron
Yeah,
in the lineup. So
this is when you start to get yourself ready for the playoffs. There is no, if you're thinking you're going to turn a switch on come playoff time, you're setting yourself up for a loss. And this is why I'm saying with Golden State is it's the inconsistency all year. It's not like, okay, they have a losing record, they're 5 games under 500 on the road. That's not what I'm talking about. This is a major disparity. This is like you are a losing organization when you look at the road. I've never seen something like this. Like this. I've never seen a championship caliber team. Yes, they are the defending champions, so they deserve that respect. But I'm also going to be realistic, man. They haven't been playing like, you know what? I mean, you lose a game here or there as a champ, you get tired, it's a long season. I get all that. But to lose like this on the road, that's concerning. And you don't think that the home teams are now going to, they all know that. So what do you think fans are going to do? They're going to get even more intense. They're going to get nasty. They're going to say things they shouldn't be saying to them to try and poke at them. And if the pressure is on, are they going to really be able to step up? That's all I'm saying. Yeah, if they do, all they need is one. If they get one road win in a series and hold home court, then yes, they win. And if they get that one road win, then I'm confident they're going to win that series because I don't think they're going to lose at home if they got that one road win. But if they don't, if they're going back and forth, going to a game 7, bro, I just find it hard. That's me. I hope I'm wrong because I love Golden State's play, but they give me cause for concern. They really do come playoff.
I want to see what this team is like when Wiggins comes back. That's like the key to me. If Wiggins comes back, then that's the key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said they can't play defense anymore. That's the issue with them.
They couldn't play defense last year, and look what happened to them. I'm just saying you can't count out this team when you get into the playoffs.
I'm not counting them
They're
out.
They have that championship mentality.
Yes,
when you get into the playoffs, that no matter what struggles they go through, no matter how bad they look in the regular season, last year they looked bad too. They had moments where they looked bad in the regular season last year. But when you get it together and they're like, all right, guys, it's playoff time. It's time to turn it up.
What are they playing like the last 10?
There's no guarantee they're going to win it all. I still think that people are sleeping on Denver. I don't understand. I guess because they think that Denver's just going to roll over again like they have. This is different. It's a different Denver team.
They got to prove themselves to me.
But last year they didn't have Michael Porter Jr. or Jamal Murray, and they still were towards the top in the West. Now they got 2 of their 3 best players back, and look what they're doing.
Golden State is 5-5 in their last 10. They're 9-30 on the road and 32-8 at home.
They're a home and away team. You're right. I can't disagree with that. You're
down
right.
103 to 100 now. Not a good night for New York. Yeah, Phillies are beating the Yankees 4-0, top of the 9th. The Mets are getting clobbered by Milwaukee 9-0.
Yeah, Scherzer had a miserable night tonight.
The Nets are down 19.4 left in the fourth quarter, down 104 now to 100. So
Golden State would have to face Sacramento.
They could beat Sacramento because Sacramento, while they have looked impressive, they've skidded a little bit too, and they're a young team.
Inexperienced team.
Yeah. It's like Cleveland.
I'll give you that.
That's why I give you a chance against the Cavs coach because you guys have some experienced players on your team while they have a lot of young guys that they've been very good this year, but Cleveland, they're a young team going into the playoffs. You don't know
Really,
how
the
they're going to
Knicks
respond.
only got Brunson with playoff experience.
Doesn't Randall have a little
Randall
playoff
has
experience
some. Yeah, he has
Randall,
some. But that's about
RJ,
it.
RJ was there on the playoffs that he
Mitch,
Oh,
they just
okay.
they
That
just
Robinson,
played
one,
two
the
they just
one.
played
Okay,
2 years ago.
that's
So
right.
Mitchell
That's right. That's
Robinson
right.
too.
That's right. That's right.
I mean,
That's
they
right. Yeah.
have
So
the
they have a
they,
little bit.
they
Yeah,
have
I'm
a
just not
little
seeing
bit.
it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Hartenstein, didn't he play with the Clippers?
Sub bookends.
What's good, Bookings?
Yeah, he
Appreciate you
did.
coming through.
Yes, he
So I
did.
mean, there is some. Now, is there a wealth of it? No. I mean, the one who has the most actually is Derrick Rose.
Yes.
That let me see. Derrick Rose. Who else? Who
Does
else is on the
Fournier have
bench?
playoff experience?
Fournier. I don't think he has a lot. If he does
Mm-mm.
have with Boston, didn't he have it with Boston
Yeah, he was on that Boston team not last year, the year
the
before.
year before last?
Yeah.
So yeah, other than Derrick Rose, I mean, they don't have a lot, but they have some. So I
Telling you right
mean,
now, that Boston team looked scary the other night against Milwaukee. Boston is starting to
yes,
hit their stride. And Tatum and Brown, oof, my
but they
God.
might have woken up Milwaukee, man. Look what they just did to the Sixers.
That's true, but Boston obliterated Milwaukee in
Yeah,
Milwaukee that other night.
yeah.
Boston is starting to get into that mode now
They
where
losing right now to Philly, so 74-71. So
Who
we'll
is
see.
Milwaukee?
No,
Boston.
Oh,
Boston
Boston.
is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we'll see how they play out. Matt says playoff experience is starting to be overrated.
we'll see
There
about that.
there is always a benefit to having playoff experience because in most every sports the intensity level is turned up a notch, and if you
Yes.
aren't ready for that, yeah, you're gonna get bullied. And the refs actually ref the games differently in the playoffs. They
hmm
usually allow more contact. So that's something else you got to be mindful of. But
You can't
I get
compare
what you're
football and
saying.
basketball, Nomads. It's a
Yeah,
different thing.
not
It's
not at
different between
all.
football and basketball in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
it is. It's true. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely think having playoff experience is definitely a benefit, especially in the NBA,
Yes.
because of, like I said, the physicality. Physical football is physical regardless.
Yeah.
So but in the NBA, they tend to swallow the whistle a little bit, as they say, and let the guys play a little bit more physical. And they also, like I said, the intensity level is definitely turned up a notch. So
Which I
just
love. I get
something to
jacked
be
up when you get
mindful
to
of.
the NBA playoffs. It's like what? It's next week, right? Playoffs start next week. I think so.
Yes.
Because the season ends this Sunday. Our last game is against the
Yeah.
Sixers on Sunday. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you're right, Nomads. And we're gonna talk about the football here in just a second. I'm trying to wait till this Nets game ends a little bit because I kind of want to see the effect on it looks like they're gonna lose, but we'll see.
yeah. I don't think they're not winning. They're not winning
Um
this game tonight.
so to the point, that's gonna drop them to
Maybe 43-36, I
43
believe.
and 36, which puts them a game ahead of the Heat.
I thought that was a foul.
Well, it's 2 games now because they beat them 3 times. So they'd be 2 games up on Miami if they're
Yeah,
tied.
they gotta be careful though, because
Wow.
when is the
He's
next
right.
game?
They're playing the Pistons next. If they can't beat the Detroit Pistons on the road, that's a problem. The Pistons are the worst team in the Eastern Conference. You have got to go down to Detroit. That's the last road game of the season and take care of business. They got Detroit, I believe, on Thursday. Oh, no, sorry, they have Detroit tomorrow night. Then they got,
Who's Miami playing? Oh, Miami beat Detroit. Okay, so see,
yeah.
yeah, all right.
Because
So
we got Detroit tomorrow night in a back-to-back. Then we got Orlando back at Barclays on Friday, and then we got Philadelphia on Sunday. And Philadelphia could have it wrapped up at the 3rd seed, so they could sit Embiid, Harden, some of their guys if they know they're playing the Nets in the first round. So
yeah, 107, 102. That's the
The final.
that's the final. Change the banner. But I think the Nets. I think the Nets will hold on eventually and get it done, man. But I mean, it's just you don't know, man. You don't know. You don't know how this team is gonna look. From night to night, it seems like. But um, yeah, Met says yeah, football is tougher. You lose one game in football, you're toast. NBA first round is easy. That's why the play-ins were added. Yeah, I'm getting used to the play-in game. I'm from the '90s era, obviously.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we've seen some cool upsets in the first round of the playoffs. With the lower seeds, but it seems as if today's NBA, the kind of underdog, so to speak. And when I mean that, I mean the lower five seeds are just don't really have that much of a shot. I think the last um, bottom five seed it might have been the Knicks
I think it was the Knicks.
that went to the championship game and they got mollywopped. But yeah, it's just usually the best teams are probably going to be in the championship game. That's
And
just
I'll
how the
say this
NBA
about the
is.
Nets:
It
if
doesn't have
we
as much parity as the NFL.
if the Nets can't go out there and beat the Magic and the Pistons, they can't beat those two teams, and they lost the Magic not that long ago.
Right. So don't
They
say
can't beat
that they
them.
hit.
Well, they better, because if they want to hang on to that 6th seed, they better go out there and handle business against teams that they're better than. Let's just be real. They're better than the Pistons. They're better than the Magic. If they want to be that 6th seed and not drop out of that 6th seed to 7 and be involved in that playing game, go out there and handle your business against teams that you're better than and clinch that 6th seed already. Get it
And I
done.
believe the Nets losing tonight, I think that locks it up for the Knicks. I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Knicks will be the 5th seed. The Knicks are the 5th seed.
So congratulations, Knicks fans. You got the 5th seed. But let's get into
Congratulations.
let's get into a little of the football. Still no news on Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. So it's pretty funny that we're still here in April, coming up on the NFL draft,
Mhm.
and the Jets don't have a starting quarterback right now because they're still in limbo.
Yes, they do.
With
Yes, they do. They have a
Zach
starting
Wilson.
Yeah.
Stop playing, coach.
Terrible, Coach. Coach, you're making
But it
Jets
is.
fans want to jump off.
And wait a minute, who's the quarterback on the roster? Who? It's only Zach Wilson, so
Zach
he's your
Wilson.
Zach.
Yeah, because Mike White is gone, ain't he?
Until you
Yeah,
get a
he's a
quarterback,
Dolphin.
until
Mhm.
you get any other quarterback, he's your starting quarterback. Now,
Yeah.
is it? Oh, damn!
You
Yeah.
go out there and you put that on Twitter right now and tell Jets fans that Zach Wilson is their quarterback, and you'll see the responses you'll get from that
Currently,
one.
as it stands, I'll word it like this: currently, as it stands, Zach Wilson is the starting quarterback of the New York Jets
Yeah.
because he's the only quarterback on the
You
roster.
think
Wow.
Giants fans are bad with Daniel Jones? Why don't you say Zach Wilson to the Jets fans, and you'll see what happens. I wish Luca or Bucco or any of them were here. They would let you know about Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
How much
I
they
already know
love
about
him.
Zach Wilson. Trust me, I'm not saying he's the elite. I'm just saying he's your quarterback because he's all you got.
Yeah, true that, man. I mean,
That'd be a colossal disaster.
he is
I'll
all you
still
got right now. I mean, that's pretty bad, man. That's pretty bad, man. But 13th pick in the draft. The Jets have the 13th pick in the draft. The Giants have the 25th pick in the draft.
Mhm.
There's the wide receiver rumors are still kind of going on with the Giants. The Jets, the thing is, are they going to have to use the 13th pick to give up for Rodgers, which they would absolutely be idiotic to do, but we'll see. You know what I'm saying? So, but let's talk a little bit about the Giants. Now, there's some rumors that are kind of, out there a little bit. Couple little nuggets. So what was it? Came in for a visit.
Deion Jones from
Deion
the
Jones
Falcons and Browns.
Came in for a visit. So they're still looking to upgrade at the linebacker position, which I think is awesome.
So they should.
And it looks more likely that they're going to maybe pass on a linebacker in the first round, because of just the way it seems to be trending.
No, you don't say. Like we draft. Well, come on, we draft linebackers all the time in the first round.
It ain't happening, man. It ain't happening since Carl Banks. Yeah. So I don't see how they've been getting by this long without valuing one of the most important positions on the defense, but they've made it work. So they still got Davis, they still got McFadden, they still got Beavers coming off injury, they got Bobby O, and we'll see if the Deion Jones is added to the mix, man. That right there, I think, is a decent enough linebacker room to where you can get by. Is what's the face? The same predictions. He's not the right coach to develop him. Yes, but I still don't think he's really gonna be ever with proper coaching. I don't know if he's gonna be that dude. It's some up here. You know what I'm saying?
DJ's not as cocky person like he is.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not in his head. It's in his chest.
Ooh.
It's in his chest, and it's in between his legs. Period. It's closed. He don't have either.
No what? No, you know what?
Exactly. No kahunas.
Right.
No kahunas. Nah. He's not built for New York, plain and simple.
Right, exactly.
Send him to the Midwest somewhere. Send him to Green Bay, where they'll pat him on the little boo boo. It's okay, baby. Bye. Get your ass out of here.
Problem. Bookend says the problem is Zach didn't handle it like DJ. Yeah, because like I've been saying, certain quarterbacks is built for New York. Why do you think I turned into a Daniel Jones supporter all of a sudden? Because I see his mentality when it comes to playing New York. These fans are go to Giants Twitter and you're gonna see what this dude been going through for the past 4 or 5 years.
You know what? Speaking on that, I was watching Michael K today, and they were talking about what's his name who went to Minnesota? Is it Gallo?
Mm-hmm.
And they said, look what he's doing out there, but he couldn't hack it in New York. Some players are just not made for New York, period.
Right.
Case closed.
Joey Gallo.
Yeah, Joey No Glove Gallo.
But he's playing well over there. I think they said he's hitting home runs.
Yeah, so, he having a good time over there. Yeah,
it's like Jason Bay with the Mets years ago.
He ain't want no smoke with this team.
That's Zach.
Now, let me get to Mets comment here, because this is thrown out there on Twitter. This Stephon Diggs thing, him possibly one out of Buffalo. First of all, I don't think that's gonna happen. Buffalo is still in a championship window. Why would they start trading off pieces? You know what I'm saying? Guys under contract. I don't think he's going nowhere, and I don't necessarily think the Giants are fit. Here's what I think about the Giants when it comes to the wide receiver room. I think they want a bunch of young dudes that can develop in this offensive system and grow along with Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. I don't think they're necessarily looking for that alpha established receiver to come in here and demand targets and mess up the chemistry and start whining and crying when they don't get the football. Like, if you got Diggs whining in Buffalo, what's he going to do when he comes here and Daniel Jones ain't getting him the football? like he want to. So I mean, stuff like that, y'all guys got to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I really am leaning towards the fact that this team just needs to build the core that they got. Go out and draft them a receiver with number 25, which I'm starting to feel like that's what they're going to do. And build this team, you know, like you should, man. You know what I'm saying? With your own players, with your own guys. Yeah, you had to go out there and trade for Darren Waller, but you need somebody. You know what I'm saying? You need some veteran leadership, some established person. You know what I'm saying? To go out there and try to get it done for you on the offensive end. You know, you still got Saquon, Daniel Jones. Those are veteran players now. So those are going to be your leaders on this offense. You know, and I don't think you need, you know, the old saying is, you know, too many Chiefs, not enough Indians. I don't think you need a whole bunch of alphas on the squad that you know want to poke their chests out and say it's my team, it's my football, yada yada yada. They got a bunch of dudes. I feel like that their personalities will mesh well together with Daniel Jones and this coaching staff. And let's go out there and get it done. You know what I'm saying? We can definitely turn one of these guys we draft into a number one wide receiver. It don't have to be that you just walk into the building as a number one wide receiver. A lot of these guys that get drafted, you know, Stephon Diggs and a lot of these other players, they were drafted and they wasn't necessarily number ones. They developed into number one wide receivers. So we got the perfect coaching staff to do that. So let's get some young guys in here. Let's get some young talent in here, and let's see how they handle that. You know, we got our number one target, which is Darren Waller. So I'm totally cool with that. I'm totally cool with that approach. I know some fans ain't. Some fans say, "Oh man, you tripping. We need to have this certain type of style receiver," and they even want to pick the style of receiver. You know what I'm saying? I think Dable and Kafka and Daniel Jones and I want quick, shifty, route running type receivers. But you know, these Twitter GMs, they want this big, tall, Plaxico Burress looking receiver, and that has not worked out with Daniel Jones thus far. Exhibit A, Kenny Galladay. So y'all go ahead and say what you want to say. Call me crazy. Call Jeff, Coach, the Big Blue Crew. Y'all call us crazy, but this is why wait and see what this team does come draft time. Because I'm telling you, OBJ, Diggs, Ayuk, these moves I feel like would have been made by now. If that's the direction they was looking into, right? And the last thing before I pass the mic and get to a couple comments, like my man, shout out to my man Big Dash, man. He always trip me out. We ain't got no bread, man. Got no bread. The cat, man. The cat. We up against the cat right now, man. You know what I'm saying? We still need to sign Dex and do some other stuff too, man. You know, with Andrew Thomas's contract and stuff like that. So I don't think they're looking to bring in no big time receiver that they got to pay a bunch of money. But that's my opinion. Let me jump to some comments. Bookend says, "Promise Zach didn't handle like DJ." We read that one already. Not too many have the temperament personality like DJ. Exactly. Exactly. I agree. Let's keep it a buck. Aaron Rodgers ain't built for New York. I don't think he is. But everybody say, "Oh, he's Aaron Rodgers." Yada 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 yada. Yeah, but he ain't in New York Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? He Green Bay Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay and New York are worlds apart. Sorry, man. Odell wasn't built for New York. Let's keep it a buck. I think he was. I think he let New York get to him. So I can kind of sort of agree with your statement right there. I think he had the swag and the but he kind of let it get out of control. You know what I'm saying? He got a little wild with it. You know what I'm saying? Odell never did anything malicious. I think he's a good dude at heart, but he has shown to be a bit immature, if you want to call it that. So wouldn't say he wasn't built for New York. I just think he let his immaturity kind of get the best of him, man, his first few years here, man. But everybody says he's a different dude now, but I still don't. I'm good. I pass, man. But that's just me. If he came, I wouldn't be mad. Let's keep it 100. But that's not something I'm gonna advocate for with this team. I'm kind of giving you how I think this team needs to be built, and I think Joe Shane and Brian Dable are showing the fan base what they're trying to do here as far as building the team. Same thing about Higgins. Why would Cincy let Higgins go this season? Yeah, I don't think they letting him go. But that's the guy we want out of all the trade rumors. It is T. Higgins, but I agree. They're not letting him go. Buffalo ain't letting. San Francisco ain't letting Ayuk go. I don't think, man. These teams are trying to win a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if they fall short and some of these contracts start coming up and shit hits the fan, maybe they look to rebuild and turn it around. Particularly San Francisco, because I don't necessarily think they have something etched in at the quarterback position. So that might be a team you might be able to get if they, have a bad season after this season. But I think that move is going to come next year, y'all. The big move for a receiver, or if there is any big move to be made. I don't think this is the season that they're going to do it. And Almighty Finesse, what's good, man? What's good, man? Appreciate you pulling up, man. Thank you, man. Low, y'all did Nets. We clinched the 5th seed. Yeah, congratulations to the Knicks for clinching the 5th seed, but wasn't because of the Nets. I mean, it's because of what the Knicks did. I mean, because we did win 2 for 2, or was it 3 for 3 out of 4 against the Knicks this year.
2 for 2.
2 for 2. That's right. Y'all got the last 2. All right, cool. Josina interview was malicious. Candace, Eli with Lil Wayne sitting next to you. That's just how you see it. Yeah, like I said, immaturity. He was immature for that. I really don't think Odell really meant harm, but he just didn't know what he was doing. And that's part of being a young receiver in the NFL, man, on a stage like New York. I want either Addison or Flowers. I agree. Addison is my number 1 receiver. Flowers is a close, I say 3 or 4. I do like Quentin Johnson. And I do like Smith Njigba. You know what I'm saying? I think he's the one that's kind of getting slept on here a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. I know they say he's not the fastest guy, man, but again, they want dudes that can get open. You know what I'm saying? However you do it. I just don't think Daniel Jones is the type of quarterback that wants to really throw a bunch of back shoulder fades and 50-50 balls, I think that's what they got Darren Waller for, to kind of open up that lane in that area. That's lost. We know how Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice is a good player. I think he can be had in the 3rd round, though. Rafi, what's up, man? What's good, Raphael, man? Appreciate you popping in, man. But go ahead, Coach Jeffy. Y'all chime in, man. What y'all think about the direction that the Giants is gonna take here coming up in this upcoming draft? Do you think they need to go wide receiver, or do you think they should make a move for one of these hot names, like Stephon Diggs or Brandon Ayuk?
You want me to be honest?
Of course, always.
Neither. I don't think we're a necessity to go out there and trade for a top receiver, nor do I think it's an urgency thing that we have to go draft a receiver at number 1. I think that people are sleeping on the depth at this wide receiver position. I really do. And I don't believe that wide receiver is that major of a necessity that we have to reach up to go grab one at number 1. I think there's a lot of quality depth, and it's not that huge of a drop-off in this wide receiver class where you could still get a quality guy in the 2nd or 3rd round. I felt that way the entire time. While I like Addison, I like Flowers, I'm starting to warm up to Smith and Jigba. Johnson is not bad. You could get like we talked about, you can get a Cedric Tillman, you can get an A.T. Perry, you can get a Rashee Rice, you can get a Xavier Hutchinson, or a P.J. Washington, or a Jonathan Mingo, or a Tim Scott. There's a bunch of good quality receivers in the middle rounds of this draft that you could scoop up and you could develop into a number one receiver. Hell, we just talked about Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs was a former 5th-round pick out of Maryland, and he developed himself into a number one receiver. And his former teammate, Adam Thielen, was an undrafted free agent that was developed into a number one receiver. You don't necessarily have to go out there and grab a number one. At the same time, there was a lot of trade activity last year at the NFL draft because the Cardinals got Hollywood Brown. The Eagles ended up trading A.J. Brown. But I think the Eagles was more because they were trying to become that top team in the East in the NFC. So that's why they made that move. Cardinals wanted to add another quality receiver because Hopkins was going to be out at the beginning of the season. But would I be shocked if the Giants trade for a top receiver? No. But I think the best move for them to do is go for a receiver in like the 2nd to 4th round. That to me is my target area for a number one receiver. I don't think we should go up and make it so urgent that we need to get a number one receiver in the 1st round. I know it might be leaning that way. They could be interested in wide receiver, but we know what Joe Shane and Brandon Brown and Brian Daboll, they're like used car salesmen. They'll be trying to deliver you one thing, and they'll bring out something completely different and deliver you something else. So I don't necessarily believe that they're going to be going wide receiver. I think it could be a whole lot of smoke, but maybe there's just no fire behind it. I'm actually leaning towards, I think they might be going corner in the 1st round. I do. I think I'm leaning more towards corner. I think cornerback is the position they're going to attack because you look at that cornerback position, and I think there's a lot more uncertainty at the cornerback position than there is at wide receiver. You'll be like, why would you say that? We got Adoree Jackson. We got good young players like Flott and Robinson. Facts right here. Adoree Jackson has not stayed healthy for 2 straight seasons, and he's only getting a year older. Aaron Robinson has played.
This guy, Deontay Banks. That's the
exactly.
Guy.
Aaron Robinson has played. Aaron Robinson has played in 11 games out of 33 so far in his career. He's missed 2/3 of his career in games. I like Flott. He's 21 years old. He's still got to develop. Where are you going to play him? The boundary or the slot? We have no idea. And he's also still undersized. I think he might have lost weight instead of gained it. The rest of the wide receivers. I think he's like last I saw, he's 165 pounds.
He said he lost weight.
It looks like he's 165 pounds, and he's not that. He's very hesitant. He's hesitant against the run. The one thing I do like what they did, though, I like the Leonard Johnson and the Amani Warrior moves could be like, assurance. Maybe they're not going to be as proactive at cornerback, but I do believe they want to get themselves a young cornerback to start developing. I really do. I think they want that top cornerback on the outside. So, in terms of wide receiver,
I wouldn't mind getting Hollywood Brown.
No.
Would y'all trade a 3rd rounder for Hollywood Brown? Hell, if you're going to trade a 3rd rounder, you might as well get D-Hop.
Yeah. No. We already have a Hollywood Brown on our team. We got 2 Hollywood Browns on our team in Paris Campbell and Darius Slayton.
Yeah.
Why the hell would we want injury-prone, undersized Hollywood Brown who's had issues as well? No, but Adoree's been hurt a lot in his career, no Mets. He's been hurt a lot. Adoree's been an injury concern. He got hurt the year before, too. So, Adoree, he's a good player when he's on the field, but he gets hurt. So, you got to be careful with him health-wise. And the rest of the guys, I don't see the urgency with going out there and saying, we have to draft a wide receiver at 25. I don't get it. There's so much good depth in this draft at wide receiver. Is it really that big of a drop-off from Addison, from Flowers, from Johnson, to the guys I just mentioned before? Washington, Hutchinson, Mingo, Hyatt, I guess he might drop in the 2nd round, Tillman, Perry, Scott. Is it the kid from Princeton? I forgot how to pronounce his name. Evo Savis. The kids from Maryland, Jarrett and Dumas. I don't see that big of a drop-off at wide receiver. I'm sorry. Wide receiver is not my top priority going into the first round. I am not. I would be a little bit more hesitant to draft a wide receiver. You look at the bust rate and look at the success to bust rate in terms of wide receivers. Now, I know recently it's been a little bit better with wide receivers in the first round succeeding, but for the most part, you see quality wide receivers coming out in the second, third, fourth round that become good receivers in this league. And it's more about system fit than it is about getting yourselves an alpha. And I think with the coaching staff we have,
Now
I
you
think we
talking
definitely
almighty.
can get it.
Deontay Banks or Joey Porter. I'm with that, bro.
I would even take a Witherspoon or Gonzalez at cornerback too. I like them both as well. Or Kelly Ringo. I like them too. But I don't see, or even like what pass rush. We have been talking about this too. Pass rush could be at the position we target in the first round. Hell, it's why we succeeded years before. We kept adding on pass rushers every time. And just in case somebody doesn't succeed or the contract starts coming up, you got another guy right behind him. You keep churning them out. So, I mean, I don't see wide receiver being such an issue that we need to trade for a guy in the first round or trade for a big-time receiver coming in, or we need to draft a guy in the first round. I'm not doing it. I'm leaning towards pass rush and quarterback. That's where I'm going right now. I don't know how you guys feel, but, yeah, I'm going with neither. I'm going with neither. Exactly. T. Higgins went in the early second. Ayuk was a late-round first pick. Diggs was a fifth-round pick. There's a lot of quality receivers that were not first-round picks that have been good.
What's your thoughts on this, Coach? Let Coach get in there, man. Give us a coach's perspective on this topic.
First thing,
Coach's corner.
Stephon Diggs. There's one thing that no one has taken into consideration, and shout out to those in the chat last night in the Twitter Spaces, late night. We were talking about that, and Stephon Diggs has a dead cap hit of $45 million.
Oh my God.
Okay? I'll say it again. He has a dead cap hit of $45 million. He ain't going nowhere. Okay? So that's all I have to say about that. Jeff, you were talking about the receivers. You know, I'm with you 1,000%. You can get an ex-receiver in the third round, and his name is Jonathan Mingo. 6'3", 220 pounds, runs a 4.3, 940. He is quick twitch. He catches the ball with his hands to bring it into his body. He's physical. He excelled at the Senior Bowl.
Yep.
He's played at a high level in the SEC. He can run every route pattern that there is. He has been slept on. 5th rounder. Some are opening up to him, but from the 3rd to the 5th round. Go watch his film. I'm not talking about just highlights. If you have access to all 22 in end zone, go watch it. You will see exactly what I'm talking about. The kid should be rated higher. He's probably in the top 5 to the top 10 in receivers for me. Seriously. Go watch all 22s and see exactly what I'm talking about. You can watch some highlight. There's a highlight of him against, I think, Central Arkansas. And he ran a skinny post. And they had 2 guys on him with a third coming. One guy was over the top, was all on him, all on his arms. He caught a one-handed pass, brought it into his body, and was brought down right close to the goal line. Those other guys he ran away from. They couldn't even get to him. So that's the speed, that's the strength, that's the ability to catch, that's running the route tree all in that one pattern. He also can block.
That's key.
In this offense, you need receivers that can block.
Yes.
He can play inside, he can play outside. They've lined him up in the slot. And with his ability to get off of press, I was either chosen one. We were talking about it, and then afterwards, he and I stayed on for about another 2 hours, just watching the highlights of the Senior Bowl, and this was all one-on-ones, defensive backs versus wide receivers. That's all we watched,
Mm.
and we saw them all. We saw Dell. You name them that was there. We all saw them all. The kid from what's his is it South Alabama? The wide receiver there. We saw them all. We saw all the defensive backs that were there. Cam Smith was there. Brent was there. Mingo, for the most part, was killing them all.
Mm.
Or they were literally mauling him because of how physical, how quick he is, what he was forcing them to do. Jonathan Mingo is being slept on. So that's all I got to say. As far as defensive backs, I'm going to do this for you. Cameron Mitchell, Deontay Banks, Antonio Johnson,
Mm.
Cam Smith,
Mm-hmm.
Christian Gonzalez, Clark Phillips, Colby Richardson, Darius Rush, Devon Witherspoon, DJ Turner, Eli Ricks, Emmanuel Forbes, Garrett Wilson, Jacorian Bennett, Jalen Green, J.C. Rogers, Jalen Jones, Joey Porter Jr., Julius Brent, Kaylee Ringo, Bayou Kelly, Terrius Brini, Makai Blackman, Makai Garner, Razon Wright, Riley Moss, and Tyreek Stevenson. Now, there's a whole lot more in there of cornerbacks that I was just reading.
Mm-hmm.
There's a plethora of receivers and defensive cornerbacks that you can get. If you're going to talk to me about a defensive back possibly going in the first round if he's there, talk to me about a safety. Talk to me about a safety.
Why safety?
Because of where we are in the position, we did do some three safeties. We have what right now? Three, maybe four safeties on the roster. So I could see us going safety. There's the what's his name from Alabama. Wait, let me double check here. What's his name from Alabama?
Plus, you don't know what's going to happen with McKinney after the season.
Exactly.
If they go safety, then yeah, I'm saying
Battle.
he's out. Definitely.
Yes.
Jordan Battle is one. Who's the other one? Oh, Brian Branch.
Brian Branch. I was gonna say that's
Brian Branch can play in the slot as well as over the top. He fits what Julian Love did. So and he's probably in the top 15, but he's probably going to slip. So if you're going to say that, if I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the whole draft, not just the first round board, the whole draft, I'm saying to myself, okay, I can get receivers later in the round. Not just Mingo. I mean, Jeff gave you a list of receivers. I just gave you a list of cornerbacks. There is plenty of talent there. The safeties, you would probably have to, get quite a few to do quite a lot of what Julian Love did. But Branch pretty much can do the same thing. And I mean, they're pretty much almost the same build, same speed. They can play in the slot. They can play deep. Julian Love coming out of Notre Dame was actually a cornerback. He was an off cornerback, but they transitioned him to safety where Branch is already there. And if you're playing for Nick Saban as a defensive back, he's coaching you. So you have the fundamentals to play in the NFL as a defensive back. So if that was the case, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking about it, that might be a consideration. Realistically, I can understand if they're going to go cornerback. I really do, because we don't know. We're injury prone. We have young cornerbacks. Maybe you just want to just rip the Band-Aid off, get us another one because of what Wink wants to do. But I still think you can get Smith can probably go in the second round. Ringo can probably go into the third round. So and I just read off all those other ones. You can get them there. So some are not as elite as as Banks and as Witherspoon and as Gonzalez. No, but they're still good enough to play. So
So, coach, safety, that's interesting. Heard somebody else kind of throwing that out there. Coach Dante. That's who it was. Yeah.
okay.
He was on my show Sunday. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one.
Because it's not a pretty position, and that's the whole
It's
thing.
because we got McKinney and we do have Belton and Pinnock. And I think.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
What are they willing to pay McKinney the type of money that he might be looking? He did switch agencies, and then Belton, he had some upside,
but
but what do they think
under
about Belton?
contract for
This is after next year's his last.
This is his last year. Yeah, this season is last season.
He's a second rounder. He's a second rounder, so it's only 4 years.
Yeah, he's a free agent after this upcoming season.
Yeah, that's true. I still don't know if I want to do that. I don't know. I'm not sure. Would I be mad at it? Nah. It'd be one of my less likely positions. I mean, if you go in defense, I'm thinking corner or edge, or even somebody on the defensive line.
Yeah.
No about
There's edge rushers that can go into the second and third round. What I'm getting at is all these positions we're talking about.
Yeah, and they just brought in Bobby McCain. Good point, Mets.
There is a lot of talent. McCain is only signed for 1 year though, right?
Yeah, he is. And Pinnock, I think, is only here for one season.
1 more year. So these are all the things you have. Yes, you could sit here and say that, but you still have to look at, okay, and if McCain doesn't play well,
first round.
Okay. Because
I'm not opposed to it.
If I'm going to look, let me look at the safety position because
do that. That's kind of like the center argument, in my opinion. I just think it's better players, man. Possibly. We'll see what's there. What's his name? What's the top safety? Is it Branch?
Yeah, it's Branch.
If he's there, I mean, I'm all for BPA. It just depends on, I guess how high they got him rated.
Exactly.
They think he can come in and really be that dude on his defense and really be that difference maker. Sure, why not? I'm open to it, man. But it's kind of down there on my list, man. I want to bulk up these lines, man, if possible, man. If you can't bulk up the lines, the next best thing is
so wait a minute.
Get somebody to shut down a receiver or get a receiver.
Wait a minute. You want to bulk up the lines, but then you don't want to take a center in the first round.
Because you don't need to reach for one. No. That's what I'm saying. You can get in the second round.
Who says you're reaching?
It depends, right? If all the players on your board are gone and John Michael Smith happens to be the 25th rated player on your board, he's there.
That's what I'm getting at. Yes, if he's the 20th.
Okay, but I highly doubt that's the case. We're naming a bunch of players at other positions that we would, value in that first round. And center ain't one of them. That's all I'm saying. Hell, I might take that guard before I take a center.
Osiris Torrance.
Yeah. I'm just not. To me, that's just me. I don't see the value and
okay,
going there for round one, especially if you're telling me that there's other players at other positions of need that should be higher or could be. I'm not saying should be. I don't know the Giants board.
No, I get you.
Could be higher on your board, and you're just saying, let's just take a center because we want to fix the line, as if that's going to fix the line. It ain't.
Let me say this. Okay. First and foremost, yeah, I'm with you. I understand. I don't have Schmitz rated that high, but The problem I have with
Wow.
the narrative that everyone is
It's a
putting
good
out there.
question, Mets. I'll let Coach answer that one. 'Cause he's more with the X's and O's. Where does the safety rank in Wink's defense in terms of position importance?
If he's multi versatile, he's up there. He goes with cornerbacks first more than anything because he wants to lock down cornerbacks to shut down the outside. And then
Yeah.
you want to have your nickel or a coverage safety who can also blitz, who can play the run, but who can also drop into coverage. So the safety is up there in terms of Wink's defense. If we go based off of what he did in Baltimore. Last year was a lot different because of the personnel we had. We did not have the type of defensive backs that he really wanted to play the defense the way he really wanted to do. He had the safeties, but he didn't have the cornerbacks ultimately. Because if he had a true lockdown number one, Odori Jackson would have been a number two cornerback.
What's good, Tommy? Appreciate you coming through, bro.
So, um, but
What's up, bro?
getting back to what I was saying initially in terms of like I know that I know Shane is positional value, and people argue positional value like they depreciate the running back and they depreciate the center. And I'm sorry, the center is the second most important offensive lineman. He is.
Nah, I ain't arguing that.
So to the way they targeted the center is the worst offensive lineman that they make it seem in terms of positional value. First and foremost, an offense can't move without the center. There's not a damn thing you can do without a center. You need a center to be able to snap. That's number one. Number two, he has to be able to snap and get his hands up quickly based on who he's going to block or who's in front of him, so on and so forth. He has to have good feet. It's the direct line to the quarterback because right there, the quarterback is lying right up behind him. If the defense can just knock a center down and go right to the quarterback, it destroys your offense just like the left tackle on a right-handed quarterback because it protects his blind side. So that's why to me the positional value is this in terms of the center. If I'm going to rate positions, I'll give you quarterback number one because he's the captain. The offensive line across the board is more important to me than a running back, a tight end, and a wide receiver. It is,
Absolutely.
but we don't give them that type of respect. But now I'm an old coach. I'm an old offensive and defensive line player and coach. So yeah, my heart is there. I get it. We see the running backs, we see the tight ends, they score the touchdowns and all of that. They make these great catches, but they can't make these great catches. The quarterback can't throw them the ball if the line ain't blocking for them. And that's why, for me, that's why I put offensive line probably higher than I do receivers. And nowadays, we just talked about all the wide receivers. This is why to me I rate linemen higher than I really do skill guys. I really do.
Mhm.
But I'm in the minority because I don't know anything.
I
So
think I
Well,
think it ain't that, Coach.
I'm being facetious, guys.
What
Sorry.
right? But what it is though, to for me, and me and you talked about this.
Hmm.
Why take? And this is specifically to this draft because last year, if
mhm.
you wanted to make an argument for a guy like Lindenbaum, who was by far and away the best center to come out, we ended up going to Baltimore, had a pretty good season.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna give you less pushback, but tell me the world difference between Smits, Titman, Weipler, and Olawatsini, who I think could probably be the best of the
Nothing.
bunch.
Nothing. I
Um,
mean, I'm saying to you, yeah, I'm with you in terms of with my big board. I mean, right now Schmitz is the only one that I rated up there, and it's on the back end of the top of the 50. He's in the 45 to 50 range on my board.
in the second
So I
round.
get it. I understand, but I also did that because of positional value. Now, if I was being straight up, I'm moving all those centers up, moving them all up, and I'm dropping down a lot of skill guys, and I'm moving all those centers up into the mid first, into the second round, every last one of them, including Titman, because and Titman I think is the worst of them all. but everyone seems to love him as number 2 for the most part because of his size and everything. But that's me and how I look at it, and that's also my affinity for offensive line and how important I put on the offensive line because for me, okay, playing offensive line is a mindset. You are going up against 300 plus pound guys, and you have to move them. And whether you want to run or whether you want to pass, it takes a lot to do that.
Mhm.
And it's a mindset. So if I want to run, I need those guys who mentally and physically are able to go out there and help you be able to run. And then they have to turn around and drop back and take 300 or 260, 270-pound guys who are running at you full bore, and you have to stop them from getting to your quarterback. So it takes like a lot of skill guys. I've done minor league
Oh, Creed
semi-pro.
Humphreys.
Yeah,
I think that's what you're talking about. Okay.
when I did minor league semi-pro football, one of the biggest positions to fill was the offensive line. And whenever I used to, okay, I need guys to fill in. I used to have receivers come in, and after one series, they're like, I can't do this, coach. Playing offensive line is too damn hard. It's not as easy as I thought. Yeah, now you're starting to see, and that's why you need offensive linemen. But now, when you don't have anybody out there, you can't get the ball thrown downfield, so you can go make your spectacular catches, or we can't run the football because you don't even know how to work in combination with your partner, work a double team to go to the second level to stall the linebacker from scraping and coming to field and doing what they need to do. So that's
What you
why
think about this comment right here? He Shane Lemieux, and Ben Bredesen. Do you think they could possibly transition and fill in at center this season?
for the season,
Mm.
I still think they're going to take a center. Maybe it's not in the first round. I mean, I'm gonna give you that. Maybe it's not. Maybe you want to take Oluwatimi and develop him. Maybe it's Patterson. Maybe it's the kid. What's the guy from Arkansas, Jeff? You always talk about him.
Stromberg.
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 You can take them and develop them until they're ready, because it's not only just for this year; it's the future. So, I mean, I get it. I understand that he seems to be comfortable with them for the time being, but what's going to happen come game day too? And these guys. I
And
mean,
also factor in.
go ahead, Jeff.
No, I'm sorry, Coach. Finish what you were saying.
No, I'm finished. Go ahead, bro.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's also, we know people got to understand too with Joe Shane, and especially now. What is it? What do we call this time of the year when we get close to the draft? It's smoke screen season, everybody. They might be blowing smoke right up your ass, telling you that we like Bredesen, we like Lemieux, we think they're good. But in reality, they're talking behind the scenes, like, we got to get ourselves a center. We need to get ourselves a center that we can develop long term because, I don't care what he says about Shane Lemieux. Shane Lemieux has done nothing in his career to really give you comfort to be able to throw him out there. They can get developed into a center. And I like Bredesen, but to me, Bredesen, I think, is a better off as a guard. So I think that this team is blowing smoke up your ass when they're saying they like Lemieux and they like Bredesen. I think they want to get themselves a center to develop, or maybe even a guy that they could put in there as a long-term player. Do I think it's the first round? Not necessarily it's the first round, but I do believe that they want to get themselves a center around the second or third round to put in there and be able to anchor that offense. I mean, and Nomesh just said it before, Creed Humphrey. Creed Humphrey was the second-round pick, and he ended up being the first-rated center in his rookie season. So in Linderbaum, undersized, yes, but he was able to help that Baltimore Ravens offensive line. So honestly, whatever Joe Shane, Brandon Brown, and any of those guys say, I don't believe a damn word they're saying. Because it's this time of year.
About
that time of year where your smoke screens are all over the place.
What's up, Earl?
You might have some what's good, Earl? Appreciate you coming through. There's still a couple options left out there on the free agent. I think Connor McGovern's still out there.
Ben Jones, Ryan Kelly.
So
the money.
Ryan Kelly you will have to trade for.
I I think he's a free agent. I think they cut him.
Did they?
No, I thought the last
I
I
don't think
checked,
they
he
cut
was.
him.
They talked about it. I don't think they did.
Yeah.
Let me double check.
They talking about trading for him is what they want to do. So those are all still options too on the table. I don't want this team to Dave Gettleman this pick and reach because they feel they need a center. I think it's perfectly fine to take a guy like Weipler or Olawatini in the second or third round. The first round, that player, I think, should come in right away and make a difference. Obviously, not saying that the center wouldn't, but I just don't see the value in this draft. And people are gonna have a hard time changing my mind because of where these centers are, and how they're rated. So to me, and this is another good point right here. Azuru, but Azuru will not be. I don't know if he's going to be ready to start the season.
He's got a neck injury. You got to be careful with that.
Right. So they still have some linemen on this team that they like. I just don't know if necessarily that they are going to go in a direction to where they feel like they have to get that center in round one, and unless they absolutely are hell bent on getting a 5th-year option on that player, which would be, I think, a misjudgment from a managerial standpoint to reach for a player just to get the 5th-year option on it. But that could be something to watch out for. Maybe if that player is a fringe first round, second rounder, whatever, maybe they just bite the bullet, take them in the first to get that 5th-year option, since they're picking on the back end of the first anyway, almost the second round. But I just don't know, man. I don't feel like that's the position that they should target in this draft in the first round. I like Olawatini. Think you can get him in the third. Maybe they trade out of 25, pick up an extra third, and then go out and use that pick to get the center, or they could trade back up with the extra third back into the second and take the guy there. So just look, I'm with it. I'm all for the lines. You guys know that. But this is one I'm just going to have to give a little pushback on because I don't see a center that's really worthy of that number 25th pick, in my opinion.
I think that, honestly, I don't think the Giants are going to keep all 10 of those picks because you have to think about the amount of money it's still going to cost to pay all those picks. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they want to get more picks. I think, if anything, those picks are going to decrease instead of increase. I think that Joe Shane, if there's a player there that somehow falls in that second or third round, I don't think Shane's going to hesitate to trade up and get that guy because you got 10 picks still on Arsenal. And, I mean.
But what you want to do, Jeffy, not to cut you off, but in this draft, the strategy I would take is I would try to trade out of 25. Maybe somebody wants to come up and get a first round option, as we just talked about, and then use that, what you get from there. Maybe it's an extra second or third, because the meat, as they say, of this draft is in that second or third round. So I don't want to use my third or trade out of the third necessarily. I want to keep my picks in that second to third, even fourth round range. So they got to be careful with their trading. But if you can trade back and pick up the extra third, then you don't necessarily need to really. You could still trade back up, but you don't necessarily need to if you're going to have already the 2 seconds possibly or 2/3.
I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to do that.
In those rounds, I think would be ideal. To get 3 picks in those rounds, I think would be ideal because you could get your cornerback, you could get your center, you can get your wide receiver.
I don't think they're going to do that in the first round. I think there's still going to be a bunch of quality players at the place they're going to be at 25. I think they're going to stick with that pick, and they're going to get themselves either the best player available or a player that would also fit in need, but is also top near the board, top rated on the board. I don't think they're going to trade out of the first round. I think the second round they could trade back and maybe get another pick, and then maybe in that third round they trade up if a player falls.
But see, if you trade him back in the second round, you're I don't know. I think you're trading out kind of the range of, well, it depends on how far they trade back in that.
It also depends on the board, who's on the board at that time.
Yeah, that's true.
If a lot of the players are not there on their board, they absolutely will trade back and try to acquire a pick or two or more. But you also have to think about, are the Giants – the Giants can't keep stockpiling a hell of a lot of picks, and then because you're going to have to pay all these picks, and that's going to eat up a decent amount of your cap. So, how many picks we had last year? What, 8, 9, I think?
Yeah, you'll probably see them trade one of those 6th or 7th
maybe for like a future pick. Maybe a future pick next year.
Yeah, they could do that, or they could trade for you know how they've been trading for. I know we signed a punter, but they could trade for like a special teams player or one of these other fringe type players with the 7th or 6th or one of the 7th or 6th round picks, or they could package a couple of those picks and move up into the 4th or 5th round, try to get an extra pick there. But I agree with you. I don't think they're going to make 10 picks, but I do think they want to try to, because I feel like the middle rounds of this draft, like 2nd, 3rd, 4th rounds, I think that's where you're going to get good value. And they would be smart to keep their picks in that range. You can't do nothing with all them 6th, 7th round picks.
Oh, yeah, I'm not trading my mid-round picks. I agree with you 100% on that. I agree with you that. That's where I want my picks to be. I'm looking more towards the 2nd and 3rd round as the place where you should try to get a majority of those picks. That I agree with. And maybe the Giants can trade one of these players on their team that's not factoring into their long-term plans. It's possible. Maybe they package a player on their team that maybe has a contract expiring and a pick, and maybe you can move up and get yourself an extra pick on that day, maybe like a 4th round pick or something. I don't know what.
Who would they be trading though?
Well, a Darnay
Leonard Williams.
Like a Leonard Williams.
Leonard
Williams has been in the news. There's going to be a team. You can restructure his deal. A team that might want to extend. A team that might be interested in extending Leonard Williams to lower his cap hit. You maybe decide to, if you don't believe Leonard Williams is in your long-term plans, you dangle him out there and you put a pick with it, and then you see if a team would be willing to bite. And you can get yourself a 2nd or 3rd round pick for Leonard Williams, and then that team that acquires him could try to extend him and spread out his cap hit if they plan on keeping him long-term. So that is a guy that you're going to have to monitor going forward. Is that what are they feeling about Leonard Williams and his
cap numbers is so high, I think that is something they might want to take a look at. Don't necessarily see them doing anything with Adoree Jackson because the lack of depth at the cornerback position. You're going to need this guy if you want to compete this season. So I don't see them making a move there. Leonard Williams would be the move. Met says Barkley.
There's been a lot of noise about Barkley, but I don't see them trading.
But I don't think they're going to trade him either. I think they're just going to force him to play on the tag, to be honest, or get something done long term.
I think he's playing on the tag. I think Barkley's going to play on the tag this year. I hate saying it, but it's just the vibe. Things could change from now until July, but I think he's playing on the tag.
I think so too. Everything that I'm hearing is, they kind of the contracts of negotiations kind of died. And they just looking, like, hey, this is what we got for you. you want more than the 10.5 that the tag is giving you, and we good money on that. So,
And I don't blame either side about feeling that way either. I think both sides have the right to feel the way they do about it. It's the running back market. Look at the other running backs. What running back has gotten paid? The only one that's gotten paid is Miles Sanders. All the rest of them have been tagged.
Miles Sanders ain't getting nothing but what?
He got a decent contract from the Panthers.
What per year? He ain't getting no 10.5 million with the tag.
Miles Sanders.
I think he got like 8.
I'll let you know in a second.
Didn't he get 6?
Yes, I think it was 6. I think you're right, Coach. It was nowhere near what the tag was. I know that.
He's got
that's the argument.
7 mil, a little under 7 mil.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's the argument to be made. Mets. I think Barkley ultimately will end up sucking it up and playing football because can you afford to sit out a year?
As a running back, no.
That's right. You know what I'm saying?
That's Le'Veon Bell. Yeah. That's Le'Veon Bell how that works.
So Barkley end up playing. He might not like it, but at the end of the day, if Barkley's smart, at the end of the day, he will just kind of. You want long-term stability. Yeah, look, you're not going to get the money you want. The market, you misjudged it. You and your agents. That's probably why you fired the agent. But you just need to get something long-term done. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if you can finagle the Giants to come in around the 9 to 10 million a year mark, and get a 3-year deal done, I think that's your best move. Or play on the tag and then be a free agent next year. And try your luck there. But, you still rolling the dice. Injury could happen. Could have a bad season. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? I don't wish none of that, man, on Saquon, man, because I like Saquon as a player and as a person. You know what I'm saying? But I think he's in a tough spot, man. He really is, because the Giants are just kind of like drew their line in the sand right now, and I don't think they interested in really moving off what they offered them in the beginning. So that's going to be something to monitor here. But coaching staff doesn't even sound sure if Barkley will play on the tag. Yeah, you know how players are though, Mets. They usually say they ain't gonna play on the tag. But yeah, at the end of the day, he'll probably hold out for training camp, try to make the Giants nervous about yada yada yada. But Joe Shane is one of these GMs that I don't see him really budging off what he gave Saquon in the beginning. So I think Saquon is going to be SOL. He's tag or sit out. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately. Tudo, what's good, man? What's good? And respects to Kenny, Jeff, Coach, No Mets bookends, and all the Giant fans in the buildings. Greeting from Italy. Greetings to you too, my brother. Appreciate you coming through. Yeah, Barkley couldn't afford to play hardball. He did. Now the deal's rescinded. Yes, yesterday's price is not today's price. I think Barkley blew it. Absolutely. King Chris, what's good? He says, nah, Barkley isn't going to play on the tag. He don't want to, but at the end of the day, I mean, there's a chance they come back to the table and work something out. I think Joe Shane is that type of GM, and he does value Saquon, just not at the number that Saquon wants. But I think he does have enough respect for that man to sit down and try this thing again. I think just right now they working on other stuff like Dexter Lawrence, getting ready for the draft, doing some other things, and that's kind of on the back burner. It's like, we tagged you, we try to work it out. Right now we got some other stuff to take care of. We'll get back at you. I think that's kind of where they at right now. But I think ultimately Saquon and Joe Shane and this organization have enough respect for Saquon. I think he respects the organization as well. He wants to be a Giant. He wants to play here. The fans love him. So I think they'll ultimately work something out eventually, but it's going to drag out. Just to let y'all know, it might go up until the beginning of the season. So,
But before that, don't let emotions get in your way on what's the best thing to do business wise. If they think the best thing to do business wise is tread water with Saquon, doesn't matter. You know what? How many players have the fans loved, but you just go on, you move on. You have to think about the business side. You can't just think, you can't do what the fans love or what your sentimental feelings are for a player. We have talked about that a million times about the Giants being too sentimental with certain players. My good old buddy Sterling Shepard being one of them. You can't be sentimental with players. If they think the right business decision right now is to have Barkley play on the tag because they're not willing to come off their numbers, then guess what? Barkley, like you just said, suck it up. You just said the highest number in terms of running backs right now, salary-wise, in terms of what they made this season, was Miles Sanders making $7 million per season. Josh Jacobs, franchise tag.
tagged. Yep.
Pollard, franchise tag. Barkley, franchise tag. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Sentimentality, what the fans want, I don't give a damn if what they think of what I want and what the fans want. I want what's best for my team. If they think that Barkley, not giving him that long-term deal and giving him the type of money that he's looking for, I ain't doing it.
What's good, bro?
I'll suck it up as a fan. Just saying, I want the best for my team, even though I love Barkley and I want Barkley here long-term. If they think that he's not worth what he's been wanting, too bad. Suck it up and play on the tag, Barkley. That's how I feel now.
He says a couple comments. Saquon is worth at least $14 million. You might feel like that, Chris.
No, it's not. No, it's
but
not.
the NFL doesn't. And the proof is the fact that what Jeffy said about Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs not getting the deals that they wanted tells you that Saquon is indeed not. He might be to the fan base, and I get it. Look, I'm a Saquon Barkley fan. Got 2 Saquon jerseys in the closet. He's one of my favorite players on the team. But at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for the team. And they just can't afford to pay a running back $14 million per season. Look, they offered the dude 11 and a half. He turned it down. So
yeah.
What you want him to do? That would have got him the best contract, out of all these guys, that we talking about. So,
and think about what Miles Sanders had a season similar to what Barkley did this year. Both their numbers are not that far off from one another, and Miles Sanders only got a contract of $7 million per season. That's not going to help Barkley when it comes to negotiations.
And that's half
their numbers
of the $14 million that Barkley
exactly. And their numbers were similar. And this also, Barkley has the injury thing you have to think about in the back of your mind. No matter what you think about Barkley, I don't think he's injury prone, but he has gotten hurt multiple times. And do you want to lock up a running back to a $12, $13 million per season contract? And if God forbid he gets hurt again, then what are you going to do? All you got to do is look at the Cowboys. Just look at the Cowboys and what they did with Zeke and how that
he can't even get a contract.
Their team. Exactly. I'm sorry. I love Barkley. If they can work out a deal to get him here long term, do it. But if I'm Shane, I'm playing hardball because I look at the running back market, especially this offseason, and the only running back out of that class that got a long-term deal was Miles Sanders, and he only signed for $7 million per season. And the other top running backs this market were tagged. I'm sorry. If anybody's coming down on their asking price, it's going to be Saquon Barkley, or there's not going to be a deal. It's not going to be Joe Shane, and he should stand firm with what he's doing. You can go back to the table and you can negotiate, but you got to think about how the other running backs were in this market. You got to think about, the long-term future of the team and stop thinking sentimentally. Think about the long-term of this football team and what's best for the Giants.
Absolutely.
Sorry if that's too much for the fans to take.
He says Miles Sanders also ran behind the best O-line in the league. You can't compare the two. That's a valid point.
No,
I was
it's
gonna
not a
say
valid point. Josh Jacobs
didn't have a good line too. I was just
No.
getting ready to say that, Jeffy. So
Exactly.
I mean,
Josh Jacobs had a ran behind a worse line than Barkley did, and he still put up more numbers. Sorry, that's not a good enough. It's not a good enough excuse.
Met says Zeke has had a bigger impact in the NFL. That's very true too. He has had better seasons overall than Saquon, but you know, Zeke again, he's had the luxury of playing behind an excellent offensive line himself with the Dallas Cowboys, but that's not really the argument here. The argument is the value of the running back position. You know, doesn't matter what line they play behind, and that's even more of a reason not to pay a running back because you need a dominant line behind him. We don't even know who our damn center's going to be. So,
exactly.
I mean, you know, you got to pay Andrew Thomas, you know, eventually. So, I mean, who you paying, Andrew Thomas or Saquon Barkley? I'm sorry. I'm giving my money to the tackle.
And just remember, too, we had 2 running backs in our heydays that were, what was it, a 5th-round pick and a 7th-round pick that we didn't have to pay big money to. Remember, Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs were first-round picks, and they weren't commanding ridiculous money. You could find, and it's the argument, you could find a running back.
Devontae Adams has nothing to do with, hold on. Devontae Adams has absolutely nothing to do with Josh Jacobs and how he ran. Because Devontae Adams, I mean, while he does block as a wide receiver, that Raiders line was pretty poor.
It was horrendous.
Derek Carr.
Yeah,
you know,
it was
he
horrendous.
got a lot of dodge. You know what I'm saying? Because that line was getting him chewed up over there with the Raiders. So that's the Josh Jacobs argument isn't it really a good one to make. You might be able to make a better argument with Miles Sanders, but I think still overall the point that I'm making and Jeffrey's making too is they just don't value running back. It ain't me, dog. You know what I'm saying? I would give Saquon what he wanted, man. You know what I mean? You know, I'd have gave him, you know, 11, 12 million or whatever, man. But they don't value the running back like that. They just don't. And they're showing you. And it's uniformly around the league. It's not like the Raiders said, you know what? I'm going to pay my running back. Screw you, New York Giants. You know what I'm saying? It's not like Philadelphia said, you know what? Screw y'all. We paying Miles Sanders. You know what I'm saying? So it's really kind of, you know, and there's still a bunch of running backs on the street. Ain't Kareem Hunt still out there? Did he not get a contract?
I don't believe he signed.
Nope. I mean, that dude's pretty good too. So, I mean, that's just how it is right now, man. You know, and I hate it for Saquon, man, because he does deserve his money, man, but he misjudged this. His team, his camp, they misjudged the market tremendously. And now you're sitting out there on the tag, and the Giants ain't moving off of it. I'm sorry. I don't see them doing that. I would be absolutely flabbergasted if they gave Saquon any more than what he's going to play for on the tag.
Yeah. I don't care about sentimentality. I'm over the sentimentality thing now. I want to
I get what you're saying,
I want
Chris.
what's best. I want what's best for the team.
Yeah, I totally see.
You could find, if you get a good offensive line, you could find a running back that could become a big threat on your offense too. There's been quality running backs that you have a good offensive line that could become, you know, solid.
I think what he's saying is the Raiders had more weapons that teams had to game plan for, which opened things up for Josh Jacobs. I think that's the argument he's trying to make. But at the end of the day, it's your offensive line that really does the job there. The wide receivers may play a factor into it, but hell, Devontae Adams ain't gonna be able to do much if the Raiders couldn't. You know, Derek Carr was on his back all the time, you know, getting sacked, man. So
exactly.
I totally see what you're saying, but it's kind of hard to make that argument when, you know, a running back is solely dependent on the offensive line, even more so than a quarterback.
And that's the problem, is that people get too. I think it's more about sentimentality with the fans. Like it's the classic case of homegrown player we need to pay this dude an exorbitant amount, whatever he wants, because he's our guy. We love him. He needs to be a Giant. You got to think about the business standpoint, too, when it comes to this kind of stuff, too. Trust me, every single one of us want Barkley here long term. We want Barkley here. We would all be willing to open up that checkbook and keep Barkley here long term. But you got to think about what's business-wise best for the New York Giants. Christian McCaffrey was the last running back to sign a big deal. He signed $12 million per season. Barkley could have had that about 11, 12, but he turned it down. Barkley's going to go look at himself and be kicking himself in the head. I think that's that's pretty much what turned Shane off, is that he gave him a reasonable deal for $12 million per season, and Barkley's like, nah, I want 14 or 15 million per season, and that's what turned Shane away. And he's probably looking at the market for the running back position and what these guys got, and he's like, okay, I see these other running backs out there, no matter what you think about the personnel around them. And that's the value that you see. And that's just the way it is. And you look at what these running backs are doing coming out of the draft, and that plays a part too, is that you can just find yourself a quality running back in the draft that can come in and be your bell cow. If you have a good offensive line, if you have good offensive coaching, you have good scheming, you can make it successful for a running back. It's just a position that's irreplaceable. And that's just it. I'm sorry. I love Barkley. I want Barkley back any way possible. It's the same thing with the whole Daniel Jones stuff. It's sentimentality when it comes to the fan base, with every fan base. You have to think about what's the best thing to do for the team going forward, positional-wise, and what's the best thing to do salary cap-wise going forward. If they believe that Barkley is valued at about 10 million, that's it. Barkley, I'm sorry. We'll negotiate with you around that deadline in July. But if we think that your value is around 10 million and you think your value is higher, then guess what? You're going to have to play on the tag, or you could sit out, and that's one whole season that you're going to miss. So I'm sorry. I'm not being sentimental with this crap anymore.
No Met says, I'm off the Barkley train, fellas. We should go young. I think we've seen peak Barkley. It ain't enough. Not off the Barkley train.
Yeah, I'm not off the Barkley train.
Yeah, I'm not off the Barkley train.
He's still 26. He's not that old.
He could still get it done. But this is the question I want Coach to answer. And shout out to King Chris TV in the chat, and also No Mets, man, holding down the chat for us tonight, man.
That's a
I
good
see
question.
you, Breezy.
That's a good question.
But Coach, I'm gonna kick this one to you, because you are coach with the X's and O's. So, without Saquon, do you think DJ Daniel Jones will regress or progress?
Depends on the pieces that are with the offense. That's
okay, with the pieces we got now. To forget what we get in the draft, with what we have now, right now on the roster, with no Saquon, you think Daniel Jones?
Just stay about the same. Maybe let's put it like this: do I think we can win 8 games if we don't have Saquon? Yes. If with Saquon, do I think we can win 10, 11 games? Yes. So if that's regressing, then we regress. But are we still going to be competitive? Yes. Are we still going to be fighting for a playoff position? Yes. Do I still have faith in Shane? Shane, Dable, Kafka, Wink? Yes, very much so. I think we have the leadership that's going to put us in position.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's no. I'm not taking a running back.
Not in the first round. The latest draft is. You can get running backs in the later rounds, man. I mean, now what type of running back are you looking for? This Bijan Robinson is
they trade Saquon for real. I'm not taking.
Robinson has been argued that he's similar to Barkley, and that's the reason why.
I got some Giants news.
What's good?
Apparently, the Giants had a voluntary practice. They had a voluntary session in Arizona. Where it was Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor there in Arizona, and who was with them? Saquon Barkley, Sterling Shepard, Isaiah Hodgins, Paris Campbell, Lawrence Cager, David Sills, Mekhi Polk. All of them were there for this session.
And
Good to see that
before anybody argues about Waller, don't forget he's just recently married, and his wife is in the
Everybody can't be there, right?
Yeah, no, I trust me. There was somebody who said to me or said, he wished he was there, and I said, don't
Oh no,
forget Waller.
Darius Slayton's out there. Sound the alarm.
No, I'm saying Waller.
Waller
I
wasn't
know.
there.
Jones
Waller,
have chemistry, but
yeah.
I guess they saying Wallace should be there to
Yeah, well,
build chemistry.
when I said that, he's a newlywed and his wife is about ready to go to training camp because the WNBA is about ready to start. That's when he was like, "Oh, I didn't even realize that," and I said, "Yeah." So that's why it's voluntary. That was DJ putting it together, and they go out there and work together. So,
and I'm not surprised at some of the guys there. I mean, Sills is his boy, Shep is his boy, Barkley's obviously going to be there, Tyrod. I mean, these are guys that always do this every year.
Sills is their bitch. Get it right.
They love. Whoa, coach. Whoa, coach.
Yeah, he is.
Damn, coach.
Matt says he lost speed. He's getting hawked from behind now. I know it's an unpopular opinion. Hey, you in the right spot, buddy, man. Hit that damn like button, man. It's unpopular opinion sports.
Death taxes and Jones
always welcome here, man.
So when he loses speed, I'd rather him lose speed and give me a 20-yard play than, you know what? It keeps the offense going because that's the other thing as a coach. Look, you score the touchdown, then my defense got to go out. But you know what? You get stopped. We go back out there. We continue. We grind the clock. Guess what? They're making them more tired, and it's making it easier for us to win.
So Paris Campbell and Hodgins started that voluntary practice. Then the rest of the crew joined. So that's pretty cool, man. So two of our wide receivers stepping up, man, showing some leadership. I respect that.
Especially, I like that Campbell did as a new guy.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. I totally like that, man.
He want to be here.
I pray Waller makes it through a season, but them injuries scare me. Yeah, the injuries are worrisome, but I don't think he really has he had a big time injury at all.
He had a couple of injuries last year. He's been banged up from time to time.
He said lower. I think he said a lower body.
Yeah.
Did he have like an ACL or anything like that?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think he has an ACL.
I don't think he has had
no his injury history.
ACL or Achilles or anything like that. I don't think he's really had that type of injury.
Darren Waller, ACL.
Big Pat, what's good, bro? Appreciate you coming through. I see you, Breezy. I dropped the link for you, bro. We'll wrap.
Looks like he's got a concussion.
If you want to hop on, you can. Pause.
God damn it, this is a long injury list.
Yeah. He has knee patella sprain, concussion, thigh, hamstring strain.
He can still run 30, 60 yards.
Shoulder joint strain, fractured thumb, knee strain.
He had a hamstring injury last year.
Ankle. He has had ankle. He's had a knee strain, looks like 3 times, and he's had 3 hamstring strains.
Yeah, he had a hamstring strain twice last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no major season-ending. We forgot to talk about they changed the turf at MetLife, so we'll see if that helps these injuries a little bit, but
we'll see. Well, I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence about it. I got to see it and hope that there's gonna be no injuries. It's still the turf, so I hope, man.
So you're worried about the turf monster.
Big Pat, what's good, man?
What's up, fella? I see y'all speaking on the Darren Waller injury history. He's been little nagging injuries. So,
yeah, a little
that'll be my concern. Those little nagging injuries keep him out 2 weeks, 3 weeks here, 2 weeks there. So he's not with Daniel Jones and them out there because remember he just got married. Her season's getting ready to start. So I'm quite sure he's gonna want to spend some time with his wife before he gets into it. She's in Las Vegas and he's gonna be all the way in New York. So people that are saying stupid stuff. That's why I can't stand media, man. That man just got married. You don't think he wants to spend a little time with his wife before Like
You
you got
should.
right. It's a human
If you want
aspect
to
of
stay married, you should.
All
it. I
right,
just married my wife, and I'm gonna leave her out there.
as
Come on,
fine as
man.
she is, hell no,
Right.
not
You
me.
know he got some long stroking to do before he gets into the camp, and I will.
Exactly.
He can't pull a hamstring doing that unless they doing some crazy stuff.
He'll be 31 to start the season. Yeah, he's a little bit older, but I mean, I still say he has a good
Why?
5 years left.
Can I ask this question? Why
Mhm.
the hell do they think people in football just die after they turn 30 or something? Like they just die.
It's that perception, man. Like you
Yeah.
said, media, man. Media perception.
Do
You know
you
what I'm
know
saying?
gold jacket players, their most production comes from like 30 to 34, 35?
Mhm.
Isn't Travis Kelsey 34, 35 years old, and he's still the best
30.
tight end in
Yeah.
football?
Pretty
Yep.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, but when you turn 30, you just dead.
Look at what was my man that played all them years for the Tony Gonzalez?
Yeah, he
Mhm.
was
Yeah,
up there, and he's still
he
He
playing.
was a
forever.
monster. He was a
Yeah.
monster at 36 years old.
Yeah, he was still killing it.
He
You
still
know
could
what
have
I'm saying?
played.
And your man Gates.
Oh
Antonio
yeah,
Gates will
Antonio
play
Gates.
forever.
Yeah,
A monster at 35 years old.
yeah. Gates. Kelsey's 33 years old. He turns 34 this season,
Yeah.
and he was
Best,
the best
one
tight
of
end
the
in
best,
football.
not just the best tight end, one of the best players in football.
Oh yeah, and Rob Gronkowski too. He was
A
up there in age, and
monster.
he played great, even at
And
his
he had
invincible.
injury after injury after injury after injury
Mhm.
after surgery after surgery. Still balling.
I worry about Campbell more because Campbell had those severe injuries during his career. Until last year, Campbell was missing tons of
Yeah,
time with all
I'd
those
worry
big
about
major
him if
injuries.
anything more
When
than
you putting up major stats like that as a player, I'm not worried about you till you retire. If you want to come back to me after 1,200-yard season at 33, let's go. Get your old ass out there and let's ball.
I'm not worried about Waller. Waller's the guy I'm least worried about in that
injury history
wide
is
receiver
different
core.
from all them players you name. But the point I was trying to make earlier is he hasn't had no significant injuries.
Yeah,
It's not like
like
he's
an ACL or something.
yeah, like
No.
or Shepard, with a bunch of ACL tears and shit like that. It's
Yeah.
What's up, boy?
But it's all about perception. People would love Odell Beckham coming back here after 3 ACL surgeries, a broken ankle, and he's 30 years old, but you'll love him.
Because he's homegrown, Pat. That's why they love him. Because he's a giant, and he was always a giant.
No, because he's in the media, and he's a
that
media
too.
person.
He's a personality.
Because
yeah.
they also can't get over because they think he was still wronged back in 2018, and they want to, reconcile the wrongdoing that happened 4 years ago.
I don't think it was a wrongdoing. He was coming off major injuries, and he started talking in the media about Eli Manning. Not a bad teammate. He's a great teammate, but it was just time.
Mhm.
We weren't winning. It was gonna get worse. We weren't winning, so it was gonna get worse. But hey, look, it is what it is, man. Waller's gonna be the number one target this year, unless we get somebody in the draft like an Addison or somebody turns out to be a beast. Waller's still probably gonna be the number one target, and people still can't cover that monster.
Nah.
6'5", 6'6", running a 4.41 40 at tight end.
The touchdowns this year, you're gonna see the Giants score way more touchdowns. Because in the red zone, you know what I'm saying, Darren Waller can catch those back shoulder end zone fades that Kenny Galladay and what's his name? Not Trav, Cal Rudolph's bum ass couldn't come down with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Waller's gonna be able to get those balls, Paul.
Kyle Rudolph couldn't move.
Yeah, right. He was washed. But you see, that's what they've been trying to do this whole time is get somebody that's effective in the red zone for Daniel Jones. And I think they probably found their guy, man.
And another thing, man, that's why I'm glad we the Big Brew crew. We actually watch the games. Let's see what's going on. Like, how can you expect Daniel Jones to put up numbers like a Herbert or anything when he has lackluster weapons and on top of that had a lackluster offensive line. That means you got to get rid of the ball quick to receivers that are not separating quickly.
Mm-hmm.
What do you expect? It was amazing what he did last year. I'm not saying that he was MVP caliber or nothing, but damn it, he played well to do what he did under the circumstances that he was in. Any other quarterback, man, I'm like, man, forget all that, bro. Especially if they weren't as athletic as Daniel Jones, man, our quarterback would have got killed last year. Put Andy Dalton back there last year, see if he does what Daniel Jones did.
Different with Galladay and Waller. Galladay had a hip injury.
Yeah, Galladay was washed, man.
Galladay was done after that hip injury. That was that pretty much took away his zapped away his extra explosiveness.
Coach, I don't see how they don't understand this. When you're playing against defenses that don't even have to get out the back pedal, you got all these eyes on you just waiting for you to throw something stupid. Just waiting for you to throw something stupid. Pick after pick after pick would have happened last year if Daniel Jones would have played the way they wanted. Just throw the ball deep. To who?
Mm-hmm. But that you said it best. You said you don't understand because they're average fans. They really don't understand the game. They say they do, but the truth of the matter is they don't.
Who was Blake Whiteheart? Y'all heard of him?
Yeah, I
Tight
heard of
end from
him.
Wake
I've
Forest.
heard of
I've
him.
heard of him. But they signed that one other tight end, Sweeney from the Bills. So I don't know if they go tight end.
No.
I don't know if they go tight end in this draft unless it's like a luxury pick in like the 6th round or something.
I think they might go undrafted maybe for another tight end.
Yeah, to bring in some competition for Sweeney. But we got
They like
Bellinger.
Cager.
Yeah, we got Cager, Bellinger, and Sweeney. So I don't think we're gonna go after another tight end.
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Sweeney might actually serve as a fullback too if they want to maybe see if he can play
yeah, because
fullback.
they got rid of Myrick, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, Myrick is gone.
Okay, so yeah, I could definitely see, like you said, Jeff, them transitioning him into kind of like a Myrick role, where he serves more of like a fullback blocking type tight end.
Now I will expect them to probably get a receiver or two in this draft because, like I said, nobody's on the contract after this season.
Think they go receiver in the first?
Mm-mm.
If one of their top targets drop, if JSN drops or Addison drops or Johnson drops, maybe. But if not, I think they take best player available no matter what the position is if they can't trade back.
Do you think it's any way they take a center in the first round? I know this is kind of been a hot topic.
If that's the best player on the board, I think they won't hesitate. But if he's the best player on the board, they would take him. But what if the Smith kid drops to the 25? Nolan Smith, if he drops to 25,
Mm-hmm.
I think they take him. What if Kalijah Cansey is there at 25, the other defensive tackle that could play in the 3-4? They may take him. Shit. If they feel Trent Simpson's worth right there, if they feel Drew Sanders is worth, what if one of the top DBs dropped to 25? You don't know.
Well, I read our list of DBs earlier.
I see what you're saying, Mets, but thing about it is, when they sign a player, more than likely they have the injury news on him.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely they get worked out. They have to pass physicals and different things like that. But the old regime for the New York Giants was so idiotic. They knew this dude was pretty much done.
They were desperate. They
needed to, because they did the same thing with Kyle Rudolph. They knew he had an injury. They signed him anyway. The same thing with Kenny Galladay.
That's a GM trying to save his job.
Right.
Yep.
I think there's a difference. I understand your concern, but again, Darren Waller's injury history is extensive, but it's nothing major to where I feel like it's something to be worried about. Kenny Galladay had a hip injury. You need your hips, bro, to get separated.
Let me say this about injuries.
Go ahead, Coach.
All right, because it's frustrating. I get injuries. I get it. But if you worry about guys and their injury history, how far back are you going to go? Because there are guys who have had knee and hip injuries back in high school, and it's lingered through college and has been brought up and so on and so forth, but they've still been drafted and gone on to have a productive year. If you worry about injury histories in football, then don't be in football, because guys are going to get hurt. They're going to get
Point,
hurt. They're
coach.
going to get injured no matter what. You have to adjust to that, and you just have to move on. Now, do you want to do your due diligence and make sure you see and test it out, and you get the medicals and you talk to the doctors and the trainers? Yes, you do all that. But now, if they tell you they're good to go, they're medical professionals. They know more than any of us average Joe Schmoes out there. So you go with what they're telling you. It's not 100%. It's not an exact science. You try and chance it, because if you're worrying about injury histories with every player, there's stuff that we do not know about with some of these guys. I guarantee you, there's guys. Heck, you might be surprised. Andrew Thomas has stuff that's been put on the injury report that we don't know about,
Yeah, that
but
ankle.
he's out there.
I'll tell you one thing, Coach. You know how I know that this dude still got it?
Mm-hmm.
Because the Raiders were mad when they got rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
There was no Lions players coming out saying, "Oh man, why didn't we keep Kenny Galladay when we got Kenny Galladay?"
Well, they're happy to get
Well,
rid of him.
yeah, the motherfuckers wasn't nobody coming out saying, "Oh man, Kenny Galladay gone." But when Waller got traded, it was like Raiders players tweeting eyes and everything. Like what? So that's how I know this dude is far from washed, man. Y'all gonna see, man. But a lot of you guys are gonna, stay on the fence, and then when he balls out, hell yeah, it's like hedging your bets, man. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm not just talking about the injury history. My major point was living up to expectations. Most players don't live up to expectations, especially off a trade. Um, let's talk about what the expectations are for Darren Waller. What do you guys think? I'll keep the comment up there. What do you think? What is fair to say that Darren Waller should perform coming into 2023 season? What should his numbers look like? What would make a
See,
player like Mets feel that they got and I appreciate and respect, Mets. I'm not picking on you, but we just having a conversation. What would make someone like Mets feel that they got their money worth out of Darren Waller? What kind of season you need to have?
this question here is so layered because the expectations is, oh, this dude should come in here, get 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns. No, this man was brought here to get eyes off of Daniel Jones and open up the scheme. So if he only gets 600 yards and maybe 5 touchdowns, but this offense is one of the top offenses in the game, he did his fucking job.
Mm.
People look at football stats while, oh, he wasn't one of the top fantasy tight ends. I mean, I don't want to hear that shit, man. That man's drawing double coverages and he's being bracketed because they're trying to take him away from the game. Then he's doing his job. Because we didn't have anybody on this team last year where you felt you had to bracket him. But if he's doing that, he's putting that on the field, he's opening up the run game for Saquon, he's opening up lanes for Daniel Jones, he's opening up lanes for Slayton to catch dig routes and take him 30 yards after catching a 15-yard pass. He's doing his job, man. Football is the ultimate team sport for a damn reason. This is not basketball. This is not where you can go out there and you can just be dominant 1-on-5 just about. It's not like that. Everybody expecting, oh, he's supposed to be LeBron James out there on the football field. What are you talking about? Everybody depends on everybody in football.
I think that's fair, Chris. 750, 8 touchdowns. I think that's a ballpark of what you will probably see from a guy like Darren Waller. That's a good comment, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Here's what I want to say in reference to add on to what you're saying, Pat. Okay. And please do not take this the wrong way, but the average fan or those who are below average needs to elevate their knowledge of the game of football. I mean, it's just that simple. Whether you go to coaching clinics, whether you go online and go to like CoachTube or anything that teaches you honestly,
Yeah, no doubt,
go
man.
to
Appreciate you, bro. Go ahead,
go
coach.
to legitimate coaching sites that will teach you the game, that will show you schemes, that will explain to you the reads, the progressions against certain coverages. You're really not going to fully understand. You're just going to go by the stats. You're going to go by fantasy. Because for me, I hate fantasy football. I hate it. And I get a lot of people play it, and I don't begrudge anyone else. But for me, it skewers the narrative because it makes you focus so much on stats instead of really what's going on out there in the game. And then sites like PFF, where they go through this grading and say, for offensive lining, this is the grading, and they missed a block based on a stunt, but they're not really looking at, well, first of all, what was the blocking assignment? Because if the offensive line is geared to slide left, but somebody rolls right past the tackle and he's sliding left and they pass him on the right, oh, he missed the block. Well, no, he didn't. What happens if he's responsible for the outside responsibility? Maybe that was a back that was supposed to come up and fill in there.
Right.
There's things like that these sites don't teach fans. You can have half a line slide and the back fill, but fans don't understand that. They don't see that. They just see a hole open up in the middle. Oh, the offensive line made a mistake. Somebody blew an assignment. And that's why I say to you, as an average fan, elevate your knowledge. Always elevate your knowledge. Don't always just look at the sites where you got these professionals, and I give them professionals, and they're talking about this or that on TV, and they're showing a play or whatever the case may be, and they're giving their perspective, but they don't fully understand, or they're not fully explaining to you the full concept, the down and distance, where are they at, why should they be doing this?
Or
That's
I
go
go.
ahead.
I'm sorry, coach. I'm sorry, coach.
No,
Go ahead.
go ahead. Add on.
Or this is where I get to it. Get straight to the nitty gritty. If you're the average fan and you don't know what the hell is going on, shut the fuck up.
Mm.
Don't get out here talking like in absolutes, like you know what's going on and you don't. That's the main point. It's okay to be an average fan, but don't get online and try to tell people
Fair.
like coaching me, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. When
Mhm.
you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even know what's going on. All you doing is basing it off a stat sheet that's put on the internet. That's all you reading off of, a stat sheet. And half the stats that you read, you don't even know why it's that. You just going off of it. You just want to post something negative. You see, the whole Daniel Jones aspect. You see, you only threw 6 yards, 6 yards per pass, and then the dude that you suck off in Justin Herbert averages the exact same with a better offensive line and better weapons. It's scheme based.
Mm-hmm.
If your quarterback has a lackluster offensive line, a lackluster weapons, you expect his average per pass to be 20 yards or something? Like what? You want him to do 5-step dropbacks because usually that's what you do when you're trying to throw the ball deep, unless you're throwing a fade. You expect him to have 5-step dropbacks when our offensive line was giving up the most pressures in the league on quick passes? So imagine if he was doing 5-step dropbacks, clothesline, every time. This man was getting blindsided by defensive tackles in the beginning of the season. That's how bad we were blocking when it came to pass blocking. But our run blocking was very high. That's why we were running the ball like a motherfucker in the first half of the season. Because that's what the offensive line does best, and that's what good coaching does. Only a stupid coach would be stubborn and be like, we're going to continue to do 5-step dropbacks, even though I know my right tackle is letting people get off the edge immediately, and my left guard is in flux. My center gets bullied back into my quarterback, and my right guard is not performing to the expectations when it comes to passing. But Daniel Jones, get your ass out there and do 5-step dropbacks with receivers that are not breaking open. with receivers that are not threatening with the deep ball, except for Slayton, with DBs that are not getting out their back pedal, and their eyes as well as the safety's eyes are on you, and they have enough room to spy you because they're not worried about anybody in the middle of the field until Hodgins got there, and that's what opened up a little bit more. But in the beginning of the season, who the fuck is scared of broke hip Kenny Galladay and David Seal?
Galladay. Oh man, Neal to be exact. Yeah, Evan Neal is the one that needs to elevate his play coming into this season. I personally gave him kind of a pass. For one, he was a rookie. For two, he did suffer a knee injury in the middle of the season, which I'm sure affected his play. When you're a lineman, you got to move your legs and feet. That's going to be an issue for you. You know what I'm saying? So he's putting in the work in the off season. I do expect him to come into this coming season and play a lot better. So, but that is something I think is going to take this line to the next level, is better play from the right tackle.
Right. Because that gives Daniel Jones ample and more time. And maybe we'll be able to see some of those 5-step dropbacks if this offensive line plays better. If this offensive line is average, let's just say they are top 17, you're going to see Daniel Jones throw for 4,000 yards this year.
Matt says, to be fair, Big Pat, anyone can pull rank over anyone, so where does it start and end? And the problem with the DJ criticism isn't that the criticism is from casual fans. It's about people just not liking DJ. I agree.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? It's just a hate thing. You know what I'm saying? Because anybody can, change their mind or, see something different and see improvement, in the guy's play. But if you're just basing, if you're just looking to find anything and everything wrong with the guy, then to me, I think you need to question who you are and what team you want to root for. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Those are the fans that I question, man, because I don't know if a lot of those guys are true Giants fans. Look, man, this dude was still playing like hot garbage, and we didn't have the improvements that we had in this season, and he just kind of faltered. I think a lot of this would be warranted, man, but the guy actually improved, man, with not much around him. You know what I'm saying? The main thing that changed was the coaching. So, it's fair to say that Brian Dable and Joe Shane and Kafka and Wink are pretty good at their jobs. So what would make you think that they could not elevate Daniel Jones?
They already did.
But the fact is, though, Pat, a lot of fans seem to think that, well, if they can do this for Daniel Jones, then you can put any old quarterback back there, and they should be able to, turn him into Aaron Rodgers. And
that's bullshit, because if you put Andy Dalton statue ass in that offense last year, we are 4-13. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah,
we are 4-13. They've already changed Daniel Jones. They've made Daniel Jones a dual threat quarterback. He was already a dual threat quarterback, but they taught him how to use his dual threat abilities, because if you didn't, he was going to get fucking super kicked every time. He was going to get killed. So you mean to tell me if they upgrade this offensive line just with the people we have now as the weapon, you don't think he's going to be good?
Yeah, he says Neal needs to work on his footwork and balance and control after impact.
Yeah, his footwork was terrible last year.
But the feet, again, is connected to the knee. The knee is connected. You know what I'm saying? He had a knee injury. So that could have, I'm not giving him an excuse, but that could have contributed to some of his issues with his feet and his balance.
Yeah, and Evan Neal was supposed to be Lane Johnson last year because he was picked number 7 overall. I get it.
In my honest opinion, I believe he's a guard. He could move in the guard, but I'm still gonna give him the opportunity to play tackle
Why
if
is he
I'm
a guard?
a coach. I don't. I'm saying he
No,
can
not you,
play
not
tackle.
you.
Yeah.
King Chris TV. Why do you feel that he is a guard? I just want to know why.
He says the O line looks so much better with the receivers they had last year. This roster receiver would have had the O line looking like studs from getting open and creating separation quickly. Yeah. I think the O line has looked better. It still obviously is a problem. And the main thing here is Evan Neal improving, and of course, we've been beating the drum for a center, to get a good solid center in here, man. And I think you will definitely see improvements. I think they got something in the works at guard, with one of Azudu, McKeithen, Ben Bredesen, Shane Lemieux. I mean, one of them guys got to work out. You feel like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think they good there. You still got Glowinski. He's not going anywhere until after next season. So they should be good there. He's not the best, but he's definitely serviceable. You don't need 5 Hall of Famers to have a decent offensive line. And really, to me, it's going to lie on Neal and the center. We already know what Andrew Thomas can do. So that's, I think, what you will see this year. If Neal improves, you're going to see a whole better offensive line, which is going to give you a better Daniel Jones and probably a better Saquon Barkley. With the pan out to see this. What y'all think about Crowder? I don't think I talked about him too much. Just Jamison Crowder signing. What y'all think is any significance in that? What y'all think about that?
Solid veteran depth. That's what that is. And it's insurance if Wandale Robinson and Shepard can't start off the season.
I also
that
think
makes
he's going to
sense.
be bringing special teams as a returner.
That's what I think too. I agree with Coach. I think he's brought in to be a returner. He's like a Richie James replacement, except better in terms of return.
Yeah, I agree. It's really hate. Draft. We have to stop the run, shut down the corner, versatile O line. Agree. Really want a young run stopping DT bull. Pause. Yeah. I wouldn't be mad at a guy like what's my man, Cansey. I wouldn't mind if they went that route. But at the end of the day, I think Dex and Leo will be decent if they have with Bobby O and some decent linebackers behind them, because the linebackers, man, is really what does it, man. Because if you get, it's like Coach says with gap, gap discipline, your defensive line can't fill. You see what I'm saying? There's going to be gaps, and those linebackers have to fill those gaps. Otherwise, you're going to get 15, 20, 30-yard runs, man, because they have holes. If a running back sees a hole, it's up to the linebacker to come down and close that hole, man, and force that running back to change directions. Therefore, hopefully you get a tackle in the backfield or something like that, or some type of hesitation. Coach and Pat can speak to this better than I can, but I do know a little bit, man. And a lot of the D tackle, with people saying we need a D tackle, it's really on the linebackers. That's really what we're looking at now. Our backup D tackles were ass. I agree with you. So and they did upgrade there with my man.
What you tell me? You didn't like Jelly Edwards?
Man, hell no. So I think that's what DJ Davison, hopefully coming back healthy, you know what I'm saying? So it was the D-line depth, more than anything. I don't think we really need specifically a starter unless they plan on doing something with Leonard Williams.
Holy crap. No, I'm just reading the box score for the Nets game tonight. I didn't know that that Gobert and Towns had 26 rebounds combined between the two of them.
Mm.
I
Jesus,
want the
jeez.
Nets. Via.
I just saw that the Nuggets got their asses kicked tonight by the Rockets. They lost by like 20 plus, and they're barely holding on to that top spot in the West. So like there could be
You can
some
get a
drama
younger,
going on in the
you
Western
can get a younger
Conference.
version of Vita Vea and Siaka Ika out of Baylor.
Yeah, you've been a fan of him, Coach. You've talked about him before.
Mm-hmm. He's a pure run stopper. Go watch him, ladies and gentlemen. Go watch him. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Goes away for let's see, physical guard position. Yeah, he could possibly. I'm not gonna give you too much smoke there, Chris. I think he could play guard, but the Giants drafted him to be a tackle. Let's keep it a buck, and they ain't gonna give up on the kid after one season. Could he, if he struggles again? I mean, yeah, they're probably gonna slide him into guard. But I think we're a long way away from that happening right now. I mean, he's really got to play bad. I mean, he's got to be on some Eric Flowers type shit.
Yeah, and see that's the thing. I mean, it was his rookie season. We're putting such great expectations on a rookie as from the right tackle position. I'd rather let him get beat like that, go to film, sit down, talk to him about it. Now he works on what he needs to work on, and then after, like NYG is saying, then we see this year what it is. 1 year you're coming from college to the NFL, no, it's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. There's no NFL player that that comes in his rookie season and dominates right off the bat. Very few. I'm not going to say no. There's very, very few. Most take a year, 2 years to get acclimated to the NFL and start being able to produce. So, this year, if I see progression, then I'm saying okay. If it's the same thing, then what your argument is 1,000% correct.
Yeah, Diggs. The whole thing about Diggs is what you said earlier, Coach. For one, I don't think it's happening. But for number two, what was the salary again?
He has a dead cap hit of 45 million plus.
Yeah, he's not going
Dead
anywhere.
cap.
I'm straight on that.
Nah, you ain't going nowhere. 45 million. Buffalo is not letting that go. 45 million. Nah.
Yeah, I'm pretty good on that. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, it's no to Diggs, man.
Hey, Coach.
Yes, sir.
I got a basketball question for you, real quick.
Okay.
Who on the Cavs worries you the most going into that first round series?
Garland.
Why do you say Garland over Mitchell?
Garland is a point guard. He controls everything. His ability to penetrate and kick a little bit more. I'm not saying Mitchell doesn't, but Mitchell is really a scorer. I mean that's his number one job. If you have Mitchell scoring, and then Garland is also penetrating, scoring, kicking to the open man, then it causes more problems. So
spoke like a true coach, because you already know what Donovan Mitchell's about.
Yeah,
it's about stopping everybody else and killing you through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I thought you'd say Evan Mobley. They're powerful.
Well, Mobley it does to a certain extent, but it's predicated on Garland. If Garland doesn't get him the ball, he can't hurt you. So that's why Garland is key to everything. He's the facilitator. He is. So that's why for me it's Garland. Just like if you would ask a Cleveland Cavalier, they're probably going to tell you it's Brunson because it's the same thing.
Absolutely.
I hated we lost Brunson from the Mavericks this year, man. That dude was balling, man.
Mm-hmm.
But fellas,
you're not happy with Kyrie?
No. But fellas, I'm getting ready to head out.
Yeah, I'm about to shut down. I'm 3 hours in, and I gotta work in the morning. But
That's all good.
before I get out here, though, I do want to hit on the last topic, Coach. We
Mm-hmm.
had talked about it in the back chat, man. Talk to me about the women LSU team and why that sister, um, Angel Reese, is getting so
Mm-hmm.
much heat.
You want to know why? I'm gonna say this before I get off here. You want to know why this is made more than what it is? It's about getting the women's league some attention. We all know that girl. They agree to make her the Steph Curry of women. That girl from Iowa. What she is
Mm-hmm.
dope. She can play.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin, yeah.
But let's not. They're trying to say that what the Caitlyn girl did at South Carolina when they beat them is the same thing that the girl did from LSU. First of all, what the Caitlyn girl did was retaliation from that girl talking smack to her the whole game. If you not look at the game, but just hear some of the clips and everything, that girl was talking to her the whole game. She's like, "You down 15? Shut up. What are you talking about? I'm killing you." And then she hit another three in that girl's face, and she did the John Cena. You can't see me. You talking all this stuff. Look what I'm doing to you. And she did it while walking off the court towards her bench, towards that one player, and went to the bench. What that girl from LSU did, who did have a double double, but let's not act like she was playing at the level of the girl from Iowa. And she taunted the girl at the end of the game. Caitlin walked off. She walked behind her, continued to taunt. Then Caitlin walked off from her again. And she came back over there and taunted her some more. And she said nothing to you during the whole game. That's lame. Like, she didn't say nothing to you during the whole game. She took her L and walked off. Let's not act like this girl. Come on, man. Like,
The
that's
issue, the one issue that I have is it's not even that. It's in the media how people
yeah.
are
They hyped it
killing
up,
her, but they're killing her. They're killing Reese and saying classless and all this and that. And
Coach.
I get going after her. I get it. I understand that.
No, I'm
To
not saying it was classless on her part. It shouldn't have been hyped up. Both
no,
sides
yes,
are on the same. Both sides of the whole coin are on the same team. You have
yes,
outrageous takes to saying that she's classless and everything. That's wrong. And then you have the other takes. Oh,
yes,
it's a
yes.
black white thing. Make it into a race thing. They're wrong too. They're doing this to hype it up. That's it.
Exactly. And Caitlin said it. She said, Tom even said it. Yes. And I said it earlier. She said it's not a big deal. She's done it. They try. Pat, people, guys, players trash
Right.
talk.
Trash talk,
They
yeah.
trash talk. Some of the stuff the average person does not even hear. Like, I mean,
Right.
I've heard some crazy stuff. I've even said some crazy stuff when I played. So, I mean, is it towing the line? Yes. What it really is sometimes, it's psychological warfare. Yes. After the game, yeah,
So
it's
they got
taunting,
definitely
it's
Tony
making
J up.
fun. But hey, guess what? And Angel, she was just on with what's his name? Oh, what's his name? Who used to play with the Jet? The from Central Florida. The wide receiver. Oh damn, he had the mental issue. Uh,
Oh, Brandon Marshall. Oh
yeah,
my
Brandon
God.
Marshall and what's her and Ashley Ashley I forgot her last name, but they had interviewed her and she basically said, look, the bottom line is, and what she also said, all right, and this is the thing that most people are not do not know. She said all season long she's been getting chastised and abused, and she's been called ghetto
Yeah,
and a
I heard that.
bully and all this and that, and it's like it's a culmination and it's a build up. Is it right? No. Like you said, Pat, on both sides they're going overboard. The media is also inflaming it because guess what? It's clickbait. They sit there
Yeah,
and the fans go out and click 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 click, and don't forget that's how they get their money.
right.
when,
It's
when you
classic race bait. That's all it is. Because
exactly.
if it was two white girls doing it, or if it was two black girls doing it, it would be nothing to say about it. But
Exactly.
everybody know that this girl, they're gonna put the white girl from Iowa as the savior of the WNBA. She's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be put up like the Steph Curry of the WNBA. The other girl's gonna be half decent when she goes into the draft or whatever in the WNBA. She might average a double double, 10 points, 12 rebounds, or something like that, because she's like
Mm-hmm.
6'10" as a woman. She should be doing that. But come on, man. It's classic race bait. Everybody does it. Oh, this is about race. Click, 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 click.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's black. Click, 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 click. That's all it's about, man. And it's sad. That's why I created my own little network, man. Because I don't get into the race based stuff, man. It's ridiculous, man, and it's weak. Man, that girl taunted that girl. Cool. That's it. How many times have you seen people get taunted way worse than that? They went
Exactly.
overboard on that,
Exactly.
with
Exactly.
and then with the Caitlyn thing, man. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna get off here. All that was planned, bro. The little hand gesture she did against South Carolina was planned, and then they told that girl if they lose, do the same thing back to her, and make it a whole big story, and everybody just falls for the okey doke every time.
every
And it's
time.
sad. Every
Look,
fucking
look.
time.
Every
Race bait.
time.
Here's one thing. This is one thing that I've always told my players, no matter what. Don't complain about anything. If you had the opportunity to beat them, let them say whatever they want. Take that in. Use that as your motivation to come back to them, just like they use motivation. Come back and then you shut them up on the field. Plain and simple.
It's
It's
just
just that simple.
Yeah, it is, coach. And it's just because that girl is white. Because
Yes, we
if
get
that
that.
girl was black doing that, and that other girl, black girl, taunted that girl, nobody would have said anything. But the girl is white, man. Listen, you think that girl doesn't have the right to talk to no? Look what she did. She was killing people out there in the tournament, averaging
Yeah,
30 points a night. Nobody thought
exactly.
in the women's basketball thing that Iowa would be anything. She had game winning shots. Of course she gonna say some things. You don't think some things were said to her? Come
Yeah,
on, man.
exactly. It
Think
goes across
about
the board.
Larry Bird. Think about Larry
Ex-
Bird.
hmm
Larry
One of the
Bird
biggest
used to
trash
go on.
talkers
Man,
ever.
Larry Bird would go on the court and tell you what he finna
What he's
do.
going to do, and he would do it.
Tim
Do it.
McHale.
If
So
I'm that cold, I'll be saying it too. Hey, cuz look, man, if you take your stupid ass underneath this screen, you know this will be a three, right?
yeah, exactly, and that's the whole point. It's
Bill
look, I'm
Lambier.
bro. I mean, look, there's so many times that I'm playing and look, man, I'm coming right into the A gap, man. I don't think you can stop me. I'm coming right into that A gap, and what do? I shoot the A gap, and I'm beating them. So
Right.
you talk, and what are you doing? You're psychologically getting into their head because then it gets them frustrated. Then they're either they're making mistakes, whatever sport it is, and they're not focused on doing their job. And that, just like you said, Pat, the narrative is the media wants to make it bigger than what it is. Okay, good point on, it's building up the narrative for women's sport to some
Yep.
extent. It needs it. I will say, because women do not get paid fairly and equally like the men do. I mean, you had what, almost 10 million people watching that game for the women, and the
Mm,
men's game was down.
shit.
The men's game was down. So that tells you right there that everyone wanted to see the women's game and they were excited about it. But in the end, women are not getting paid when they get to the WNBA.
Let me say something on that, coach. Let's look at World Cup soccer for men and women.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've
Mm-hmm.
seen the stats. Now, the men's World Cup soccer generates what is it, $6 billion,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they generate from a pool of about 400 million, which is 7% of what they generated when they played. Now, the women's World Cup got like $131 million, and they cut up $33 million of that 131. So they got about 24%
Mm-hmm.
of the pie. Ain't that a huge difference between the men and the women, where the women get 24% and the man only gets 7? If
Mm.
you want to go out there and talk about equal pay and stuff, generate the money.
Well,
They
I'm
don't
talking.
generate money.
So how can you say equal pay when you don't get equal resorts when
Okay,
it comes to generating the money? You're
you're
getting
telling
a
me.
bigger piece of the pie of what you generated than what the men get.
Okay, you're talking about soccer. I'm not going to touch soccer. I'm just talking about the WNBA. The
Okay, let's
WNBA
talk
does.
about the WNBA.
You mean to tell me they're not making no money?
The WNBA, they're actually losing money, bro. The NBA pays for the WNBA to be
Yeah,
shown.
Chris says, and honestly, don't nobody watch them games. I
Yeah.
personally,
When,
I watch the
I watch
women's
them.
college more than I do the
when
WNBA.
women don't even watch the WNBA. Look at the stands, bro. The
Yeah,
NBA,
that's honest right there. I ain't gonna
the
front.
NBA
But
has
it is
to cut
true.
a the NBA has to cut a check every year, coach, for the WNBA. The NBA players are paying for the WNBA to stay in league.
And then
Look it
so
up.
then that means you're going to end up within the next few years, or it's going to eventually. You're going to, if that's the case, business wise, the NBA is going to have to pull their support. And if that happens, what's going to end up
And
happening?
if they
All
pull
these
their
women,
support,
they're going to end up going back overseas full time.
I'll tell you, this is exactly what gonna happen if the NBA pulls their support. This is the TV screen for the WNBA. As soon as the NBA say, "Hey, we ain't paying it no more," this is exactly what's gonna happen.
No, I get you. I
Not wrong.
understand.
Not
I,
wrong.
just- I get the business aspect of it. And what's going to happen is all these girls are going to end up going back overseas full time.
And
Yeah.
that's what.
And the,
And to be honest with you, that might be the best thing for them because they actually might get paid more
oh,
overseas.
they know they get paid more overseas. They get paid a whole lot more overseas. I mean, Brianna Stewart, she gets paid over $1 million by playing internationally, as opposed to being over here. Your top salary is like 270 something $1 million. So I get it. I get what you're saying. I understand about generating. We have to generate the interest. So you're right about that. I mean, I guess because I follow it. I've been following it since day one. So, I love the sport. I love women's sport. I guess I just have a passion for, I have an appreciation for watching the sport. So, and I guess I'm oblivious to all the other stuff because to me, I just don't, and maybe I should, but I just don't give it that I just don't focus that much on it. I just focus on the game because I love the women's game. I think they're. I'm sorry. I think they're better basketball players than the men. They're much more fundamentally sound because they play the game the way it's supposed to be played. Men are more focused on three pointers and dunks instead of proper ball movement. When we see a team like the Warriors, we're amazed when they play the way the game is supposed to be played when everyone else is not even doing that. So, but that's me. I mean, I could be wrong.
No,
And
I agree
coach,
with
I
I'm
that.
gonna
totally
tell
see
you
that
this.
too.
I'm gonna tell you this. You're absolutely right. But you know the reason why they play more of a fundamentally sound game because they don't have a choice. They can't go out there and dunk the ball and jump for the free throw line and dunk the ball. They have to play so fundamentally sound ball because they're women. They're not gonna be as athletic as a LeBron James or anything like that. And that's not wrong.
Hmm.
That's nothing wrong with that. They play a good brand of basketball. I'm not
Hmm.
saying they're sorry. Some of those women out there are cold.
Hmm.
Like Candace Parker in her
Hmm.
prime
Oh
was
yeah.
Hmm.
cold, was a
Yeah.
dog. I remember I used when the WNBA first came out when Cheryl Swoops
Cheryl
and them
Swoops. Yep.
and Don Staley and
Hmm.
what's the tall girl?
Lisa Leslie.
Lisa
Lisa
Leslie. It
yeah.
was it Rebecca Lobos?
Rebecca Lobo,
Hmm.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, they were nice. Like that they were exciting. It was just that the women wouldn't even support the damn league.
Yeah.
If you would just get the women to watch the league, they would be paid more money. They're not even supporting themselves. So don't go out there and bash the men's league saying, oh, it's wrong, equal pay and everything. You're not generating the revenue that these. That's like me
That's
having
true.
a company and I generate $200,000 and my salary is $40,000. Your company, same type company, same thing, generates $3 million and your salary is 300,000. I'm like, man, I should be paid as much as coach's company, man. What?
I
Dude,
get
you
where you're
don't
going. I
generate
get where
no
you're going.
money.
I get where you're going in terms of
What?
that. And that's where I drop the ball on that because I don't get into all that. I just, like I said, I just watch the
But
game.
they play a good brand of basketball. I'm not shitting on them. The women's tournament was more lit than the men's tournament this year.
Except for the finals with all the damn calls, 37 fucking fouls for an NCAA record.
Yeah,
That,
that's ridiculous. But
other than that, but yeah, no, I
but
get you.
that girl, Caitlin, whatever her name is,
Caitlin Clark.
yeah, she generated the most views in the tournament, men's or women's, because she was out there balling. Like that girl was pulling from half court. Oh, you gonna go underneath the screen? Bang!
Yeah, she got a smooth jump
She
shot.
got a clip on her.
You know what's so funny? I've been following her all year because she's in the Big Ten. I've
Yeah,
been knew about her, so it's just everyone going crazy. I'm just like, man, I've been watching her all year.
right. And she been doing this since she was big in
Hmm.
the college football. I mean, college basketball. Women's basketball is dope. Just don't nobody watch it
That's a
because
good question, Chris. I don't. Who is it?
Asia
Who is
Wilson,
this face?
Asia Wilson from the not is it Asia? Aja Wilson is it Aja or Asia? Asia
hey,
Wilson
look,
from the
man.
Las Vegas Aces. She played at South Carolina, won national championship down there, and came to the Aces. She's about 6'5". She can play she can play in the wing or she can play down low post. So she is and now it's Sabrina Iescu is they're trying to build her up to be the face of the league also, and also Brianna Stewart.
And
Brianna
I'm
Stewart.
telling you, when that Caitlyn girl get to the WNBA,
Mhm.
it's gonna be all about her. It's gonna be on her shoulders.
Yeah,
And they're going to generate a little bit more revenue in the next couple of years because they're going to build her up as the female Steph Curry. Mark this down. What's today? Uh,
April
April what? April what?
4th. Well, technically it's April 5th now, but we started this on
Yeah,
April 4th.
Yeah,
April 4th, 2023. By the time the WNBA season kicks off and that girl is drafted, she will be marked as the female Steph Curry, and that's how they will promote this thing, and that's what they did to get her name out there known even more by creating this crazy race bait thing for the WNBA to generate a little bit more money, and she might be one of the first ones to sign $1 million contract within the next 3 to 4 years in the WNBA because she's gonna shoot threes like no other in the WNBA, and she's actually gonna bring some people to watch it. Dudes are going to be watching to see what she does because she would play a brand of basketball like Steph Curry. They are very smart in what they do, and that's how they get down in the media. That's how it goes a lot deeper. I'm not going to do that because this is my homeboy's channel, and I don't want to get his channel marked. So it is way deeper than what people think below the surface of what they do. I'll tell you that. But she will be the next big thing in sports here soon. Let me tell you
absolutely.
that.
I agree totally with that. But I'm gonna get off here, y'all. It's been a blast, man. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate everybody coming through, man. I see you, Chris, King Chris, No Mets,
Good
Tom,
discussion, guys. Good
Tommy for one,
discussion.
Tommy. You know what I'm saying in the chat, man. I seen my bro earlier, man. Raphael. Seen bookends out there. You know what I'm saying? Big fan Breezy, of course. Um,
Bring on the Sixers, baby. Bring them on. Bring on Philly.
Wise
I'll
in the
flood them
chat.
punk ass motherfuckers. Bring them on. Bring them the fuck on.
Man,
And
y'all
we
going
what?
out the
Yo,
man, y'all
And
going
we
out the
what?
first round. If
Uh,
y'all make it out the playoff, y'all going out the first round.
Yo,
Y'all out
man.
Yo, whoa.
I think
We
they gonna give
barely
him some.
lost to
I
that
think they gonna
team,
give him
and we
some
didn't even have our
some heat,
players
yo.
out
For
there.
real. I think they
They
gonna give him
haven't
some
beat,
heat.
and that's it.
I think they gonna give Philly
Y'all
some heat.
better hope y'all can beat the Bulls and beat us in the damn play-in. Boy, y'all
Oh,
boys.
We're
we
not
ain't
even
gonna
going
be
to
in the
be in the
play-in.
playing
Yeah,
game. We're
we ain't
not in
gonna
the
be in the play-in.
play-in.
Miami gonna be in the play-in.
You're going to
We
be worrying
not
about
in
the
there.
Heat. You
Oh
got Jimmy Butler.
Lord have mercy. That's how bad the East is. Y'all not even in the play-in.
Nah,
No, we're
son,
in
we number
six.
6.
And we're six. We got a date with the Sixers.
Tell
Yeah,
you what, this is going to be the best chance for Doc Rivers to get that 76ers team in the final. This is
shit,
his best chance.
he ain't getting
Do
past.
you know team, Pat?
Milwaukee.
You said what?
James
I
Harden's,
don't think they
James
get
Harden's
past
on that team,
Milwaukee.
right?
You know who was on that team?
James Harden, the ultimate choke artist when you get to the playoffs.
They
Hey,
not
listen,
getting past Milwaukee. No,
listen.
matter of fact, they will play Boston, I think, in round 2 because that's the 2.
I think Boston gonna let in.
Boston's going to kick their ass.
Yeah,
They
they're gonna
barely beat them tonight, even without Jaylen Brown. Boston's
Yeah.
going to kick their ass.
We'll see, but y'all gonna get your ass whooped. I don't care who
I
y'all.
don't know about that one. I don't know about that one.
I think it'll go 7.
Yeah.
That's my
I don't think that
unpopular
Philly. I
opinion
don't
for
think
the
that
night.
Philly team is that good. I don't think that Philly team is as good
I
as
don't
they
think
might
they
think.
are either.
You say the Nets are
Joel
gonna go
Embiid,
7 with the 76ers?
the 76ers and the Nets, I think, will go 7 games.
I wouldn't give a damn what they say. If the Nets go 7 games with the 76ers, I'm firing Doc Rivers right after that series.
He about to get fired because
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you why I think this, Pat, because
Tell
now
them.
they beat the Nets by 3 points, right? And this is when we first got Mikal Bridges, Dinwiddie, and this new squad we got right now. Now they was beating the hell out of us when we had KD and Kyrie, but
Because they weren't playing.
this team for real will give them a lot of problems on the defensive end. That's the only reason I say that. Now the Nets are gonna have problems scoring because all they really working with right now is Bridges for the most part. But if that team can get Philly and start frustrating Joel Embiid and get that team off, yeah, they're gonna give them some problems because the Nets
y'all gonna give them problems in 4 games and lose each one of them games by at least 6 points.
Embiid is going to be unstoppable. He got outplayed last time against Claxton. Claxton outplayed Embiid last time they faced 1-1.
Yeah, the next heart of the city. After y'all lose in the first round, I'm gonna say I told you so.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I definitely don't think they're getting swept. I think they're gonna give the Sixers some
We're
problems.
going to give them a fight.
Who's the teams in the East? The 76ers, the Nets, the Knicks,
Nets,
Bucks.
Knicks,
Bucks.
Cavs,
the
Bucks.
Bucks.
Cavs.
That's
Cavs.
really all the
Did
teams.
the Hawks make it this year?
They in
Yes,
the
they did.
play-in.
They're the 8th.
They're
Raptors are in the
yeah.
play-in. Bulls are in the play-in.
So
I'm
the
worried about
Hawks,
that
the
Raptors
Hawks
team.
are in the play-in.
Yeah, they're the 8th seed.
Lord have mercy. So the play-in is gonna be the Bulls, Hawks, Heat.
And Raptors.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
I think the best out of those 4 teams might be the Raptors.
If Middleton play well with the Bucks, this might be the Greek Freak's second time in the NBA final.
I agree with you on that one.
Y'all can get y'all ass whooped. Y'all would draw the 76ers in the first round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, as it stands now, yeah.
And okay, I'll talk to y'all after the first round.
I'm telling you, man, you might want to just hold up for a second. We definitely ain't getting swept. I would say that.
4-1.
4-3, 4-2, maybe.
Hell no.
We getting a game or 2. I'm telling you.
And mind you, they don't believe. Nobody believes. They think with a little engine that can't do it.
Well,
you don't even believe in the net.
It's
Yes,
because
I do. I believe in my team. I do believe in my team.
Well, the reason is because there's no KD and Kyrie. There's nobody to say, oh, this team.
I would say y'all would have got swept with KD and Kyrie.
And I agree. We would have
agreed on that one.
Hey,
you wouldn't have heard any fight from us on that one.
I love Kyrie as a player, but every team that dude goes to, man, they just falter. That dude's a curse. What the hell?
Luka Doncic hates basketball.
I knew that wasn't going to work.
Oh, yeah, we all knew that. We all knew that was going to happen.
Man, I was mad as hell when we traded for Kyrie, man. Keep getting me Dinwiddie. Let's ball. What y'all doing?
I love me some Dinwiddie.
We just beat Miami, man. Miami is done.
Miami? We beat their ass the last time we played.
Yeah.
We beat them by 20 plus. Yeah, we beat them by 20 plus with these guys we got.
Drake?
Yeah, we beat them 3 times.
Man, Miami, man, Butler about to get his extension put back in.
Yeah, Miami out. Yeah, they had their little run. They
And even
should-
Zion believes in the Heat, and he always says the Heat.
Pat Riley don't even believe in the Heat no more.
Udonis Haslem don't even believe in the Heat anymore.
God damn, he's still playing for him?
No, he
Yeah.
finally retired.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Sure.
I
I
was
Say
with
remember.
him
that,
about
man.
15 years.
I don't care say if that's not a player coach, I don't know what is. 'Cause that man don't do nothing.
Never retired. He was
But
playing
I'm out of here, man.
playing
I
on the
got
white
brother
play last
Steve,
year or something, man.
All right,
Shit.
He's been a player coach for like 10, 15 years.
Let's end this stream, man. Appreciate all y'all coming through, man. Till next time, we out of here.
You got me fired up now. Y'all got me fired up.